In Oregon,
we are explorers,
problem solvers,
and change makers.
We are innovators and entrepreneurs.
We are students,
and we are the future.
When we see challenges facing our local and global communities,
we come together to find creative solutions to address them.
We are putting our ideas to work to improve lives in urban and rural communities throughout the state
by developing better ways to grow food,
creating new technologies to reduce reliance on fossil fuels,
and innovating to improve the environment.
We are inventing for a better future.
Who are we?
We are Invent Oregon.
And our ideas are ready for the world.
Welcome to the fourth and final day of the 2021 Invent Oregon Finals, coming to you live from Portland, Oregon. Portland State University is located in the heart of downtown Portland, Oregon, in Multnomah County. Today we honor the indigenous people whose traditional and ancestral homelands we stand on: the Multnomah, Cathlamet, Clackamas, Tumwater, Watlala Band of Chinook, the Tualatin, Kalapuya, and other indigenous nations of the Columbia River. It is important to acknowledge the ancestors of this place and to recognize that we are here because of the sacrifices forced upon them. In remembrance of these communities, we honor their legacy, their lives, and their descendants. Now for a message from Portland State University President Stephen Percy.
I'm really pleased to be here today to welcome you to this virtual event. To all the teams here today, isn't it exciting to be in the finals? To be showing us all the fruits of your big ideas and your hard work? I can't praise you enough for sticking it out during this very difficult year. Inventors always experience ups and downs, and you've probably ridden a real roller coaster this year, and yet you have persevered. You have shown that Oregon College students are creative and innovative, that you have the passion and the toughness to create solutions that solve real problems in the lives of real people. And it's that kind of tenacity that will allow you to improve communities here in Oregon and far beyond our borders. I am so proud of you. I'm also deeply grateful to every Oregon college and university that has joined in to provide a meaningful, culminating educational experience. Your participation in this is so valuable to society. It's programs like Invent Oregon that are cultivating our nation's future innovators and entrepreneurs. Students, thank you for making the most of this unique opportunity to dream, prototype, and explore how to take your concepts to market. Inventors, engineers, and scientists are responsible for adding so much good to our world. You build rockets and artificial intelligence. You find cures and save lives. Just think, it's thanks to science that we have vaccines against COVID-19 and in record time. Talk about improving lives. So I can't wait to see what the future has in store for all of you. I hope you'll have a rewarding and inspiring experience today. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello, and welcome to the 5th Annual Invent Oregon Collegiate Challenge. I'm Jason Podrabsky, Interim Vice President of Research and Graduate Studies at Portland State University. During the last 5 years, we've seen student teams come into Invent Oregon often with nothing more than an idea. They come out of it with a real prototype or product that has true potential to make a difference in the market and the world. Invent Oregon levels the field of opportunity for all students, rural or urban, rich or poor. Provides an innovation sandbox to any Oregon college or university student to prototype their idea, build a team, and learn the nuances of commercialization, from product launch to raising capital. It has created a pathway for talent development in Oregon driven by invention education. It equips Oregon college students with the outlook and the knowledge, skills, and processes needed for the problem identification, technical problem solving, and entrepreneurial thinking that lie at the core of the invention-driven economy. They also understand the importance of meeting students where they are, eliminating barriers that could prevent them from participating in the program regardless of their geographical location or socioeconomic status. Oregon institutions of higher education are central hubs for discovery. the places where solutions for intractable societal challenges are forged. Colleges, universities, and community colleges have long served as critical catalysts of innovation across the invention ecosystem. InventOregon highlights the importance of higher education to continue investing in research and development, an area where researchers, postdocs, and faculty at institutions of higher education have played a crucial role in developing solutions for our more tangible problems in society, while supporting students on their pathway to becoming scientists, researchers, and engineers. As we emerge from this health and economic crisis, we are looking forward to continuing supporting InventOregon work with Oregon College students as they embark on the journey to take their concepts from idea to reality. I'd also like to thank all of the people who made InventOregon possible: our student teams, judges, speakers, our moderators who gave so generously of their time and insight, and the staff from the PSU Center for Entrepreneurship who have worked so hard to make the InventOregon Collegiate Challenge possible.
I'm looking forward to introducing you to 17 wonderful teams representing universities and community colleges from around Oregon. Before we kick off, I'd like to share a little bit about the prototype competition and what the teams have been working toward. Over the past 90 days, each team has worked to design, prototype, test, and validate their InventOregon innovation. They have faced setbacks and victories, many while working remotely and for some across continents, to make it here today. Our panel of judges will be scoring each team using 4 categories to determine the overall winners. Prototype. Is the prototype innovative? Is the prototype skillfully constructed? Is the prototype functioning? Pitch. Ability to clearly present the problem, solution, and the market or business opportunity in their pitch. Progress. Progress the team has made since the beginning of the competition. Did teams accomplish stated goals? Impact. Does the team's prototype or solution have a substantial and scalable positive environmental and/or social impact? The judges will be looking at their progress via prototype, pitch, business model, and impact. At the start of the competition, each team received $2,500 in prototyping grants. They're competing today for $10,000 for the first place team to take their innovation even further, $7,500 to the second place team. Third place will receive $4,000, and fourth place receives $2,000. In addition, prizes are awarded for Best Community College receiving $2,500, Visionary Award with $2,500, and People's Choice awarded $1,500. Please take a moment to visit our People's Choice voting slide. The ballot will be available at the URL on this screen throughout the program and for 5 minutes after all teams have completed their presentations. Once you reach the Slido site, enter participation code 654722. The winning team will be awarded $1,500. For anyone watching today from a live stream on other platforms, you are also encouraged to vote for your favorite team. Kicking us off today is a team from Southern Oregon University, ConnectHer. The creators behind this app are making a virtual marketplace for women to network across communities, to find freelance work and offer contract services. They are striving to create a space where women can connect, advertise events, and promote their own ventures. This expands past other networking sites to connect professionals in a more personal way and create a safe environment for sharing ideas. Please welcome ConnectHer.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sophie Haney. This is Russ Wansley, and we are here to present ConnectHer. As a young woman in her early 20s, I am not naive about the harsh gendered realities of this world. I know my gender puts a target on my back most places I go, and this has caused me to spend many hours debating between my daily needs and my constant fears. Tasks as simple as getting car maintenance or tech assistance become rife with concern because I don't know who I can trust. Safe spaces are not prioritized for women, and I'm sure we all know someone who's been taken advantage of in one form or another because of her gender. But we want to change that, and we think ConnectHer is the way to do it. ConnectHer is a resource and connection app for women that aims to remove the fear of gender-based harm or discrimination from interpersonal services. Our main goal with ConnectHer is to create a space where women can find and offer necessary freelance services. Anything from tutoring to elder care can be found on our app, and users can feel confident that the hiring process will be safe and comfortable. In addition to acting as a virtual marketplace, ConnectHer also affords women the opportunity to host and promote community events. While trusting service providers is a huge part of building safety and comfort, being able to trust your whole community makes for truly impactful advancements for women. Accessibility and intersectionality are very important to the ConnectHer vision, so it is necessary that women of any experience can utilize these services. Because of this, ConnectHer would be a free app. Transactions between users and service providers will be set up on an individual basis, and we encourage our users to engage with mutual aid practices. Instead of creating a space where women have to pay to be involved, which would greatly limit who could access these resources, we want to give outside businesses an opportunity to be involved with our work to create revenue. We will seek out women-owned businesses and give them the opportunity to run ads through our app, as well as partner with them for promotional events. We plan to use CPM ads and will charge businesses $5 for each one, with different businesses having opportunities to advertise in different areas. We will also charge around $500 for sponsorship opportunities, such as supporting ConnectHer sanctioned events. In doing so, we can create positive relationships with businesses that we want to support, as well as maintain trust with our users, because all businesses that would be advertised would benefit them. In addition to these business relationships, we've planned as grants that are catered toward. We reached out to a multitude of women in our communities to get their reactions to our idea. Usability was a factor that many interviewees specifically commented on, with people making comparisons to Pinterest and Instagram, both apps being ones that our users would likely have experience with, and responding positively to the overall aesthetic of the app. Even more importantly, many women have told us how much they resonate with the desire for community building that feels safe and accessible. One subject specifically stated that they would feel good about their mom or grandma using it, which was definitely a goal of ours. And another interviewee mentioned how they felt that our rate setting process made it more accessible than other service apps. While there are well-established apps that currently address the need for interpersonal services, such as NextDoor or Craigslist, ConnectHer is different. What sets ConnectHer apart is our women-centered platform and our user introduction process. Before women can begin to use ConnectHer, they must go through an application. Service users have a more standard application, which mainly consists of filling out a profile so that other users have a good idea of who you are. But service providers must go through a more stringent process, which includes the same profile as well as a background check and interview. Our goal is not to limit those who may provide services or exclude women who may not be professionals, but instead to ensure safety for all app users. We know that incidents of harassment have occurred because of apps like Nextdoor or Craigslist, so preventing such activity was a high priority for us. We also have a strict policy regarding hate speech and discriminatory practices within the app. Certain words and terms are immediately flagged, so if they are used, they will cause app suspension, if not expulsion, and users can always personally flag interactions that are harmful, and our team will address the situation. We recognize that as a current team of all white individuals, we may not always have the necessary insight to make community reparations, so we would seek out more diverse team members who have experience in dealing with company responses to harmful actions. In the last 3 months, ConnectHer has grown from nothing more than a collection of women's fears to a substantial solution concept. We have gone through various idea stages and received user feedback at each step to bring us to where we are now. Russ and I have been pursuing programming consultations in the hopes that we will get our app in the hands of users in 2022. And after InventOR, we plan to continue those partnerships to make those hopes a reality. We know that the demand is out there, not only for interpersonal skills and services, but for a protected space for women to find providers, and we believe that ConnectHer will be the solution. Supporting our app means supporting a space that caters to women's safety and success. ConnectHer, where connection becomes community. Thank you so much for your time.
That was great. Looking forward to see where you take this from here. The judges were wanting to know more about your plan for securing and vetting users. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, so our initial app implementation, we're hoping to have in Ashland, Oregon, which is obviously where our school is. So for service providers, while we're in the process of programming our app, we're going to seek out general freelancers in Ashland using existing platforms and start that programming, that background check and interviewing process. And then once we have our providers set up, we'll be able to start advertising just in general social media in the area, message boards, community areas, so that we can get women involved and start using the app.
Thank you, Team ConnectHer. Next, we will hear from Electerro, a team from Oregon Institute of Technology. They are presenting a renewable energy innovation designed to decrease some of the negative impacts that solar and wind energy farms create. Their organic photovoltaic structure eliminates many harmful chemicals and mechanics that put wildlife in danger. They are working on a better way to generate power and provide resources in communities across the globe. Please welcome Electerro.
The world we know continues to grow and grow, leaving our population demanding more resources. Any person's common necessities come down to food, water, and shelter. All those share the utilization of electricity. Electricity provides those across the world the ability to make food, heat and cool, have transportation, and complete other daily functions such as communicate, have security, work, and be educated. Without electricity, we quickly lose all of these basic necessities of the 21st century. There's a great disproportion between the population and quantity of available electricity. Even worse, the distribution and availability of electricity is severely neglected in areas of our world, leaving population without a fundamental need. This need gave us our purpose to create a reliable off-grid clean energy system.
Electerro is here to provide everyone the power they need when they need it. Electerro embodies our mission to provide clean power through its solar leaves and vertical wind turbine. With the reliability of a large battery bank, Electerro also displays our goal of maintaining an environmentally considerate design with eco-safe materials, developed with an ecosystem focus like renewables should. Existing products can be trademarked for being visually unappealing, using harsh products on the environment, and not designed to be optically and psychologically safe for native organisms, all while still being costly to the consumer. Electerro resolves these problems by utilizing environmentally friendly materials with its unique architecture and state-of-the-art technology, all while being cost competitive to current standard clean energy systems.
Competitors to Electerro can be categorized as standard solar, wind energy, or specialized solar companies. Products of these competitors across the globe extremely lack the visual characteristics of a natural tree. Electerro's inventive structure encompasses key features of a natural tree, allowing users to use a more appealing structure that is safer for native organisms. Has been engineered and grown to encompass our goals of creating a unique natural tree clean energy structure that takes into consideration chemical, optical, and psychological impacts for the environment. Electerro was rapid prototyped within 4 days and is an operating off-grid system currently running its own irrigation system and lights wrapped around the branches.
Electerro was just started as an idea and has now been engineered into a prototype. That is, now it's ready to take the market by storm. Municipalities are our initial target market due to their government incentives and assistance for updating their communities to match the clean energy movement or to provide off-grid systems. Due to the distinct brand recognition that Electerro tree provides, community members will become increasingly familiar with this product. This visual recognition will develop our marketability in the standard consumer market, branching the Electerro tree into retail stores everywhere. We spoke with 5 Oregon cities to get a more developed understanding for their interest and implementation of Electerro. The responses were amazing. Electerro left every city on the edge of their seats, ready for more. Electerro will cost roughly $2,200 to produce at a mass level, leaving us with a 59% profit margin with a sale price of $5,500. This drop in production cost is due to the manufacturing techniques used, such as injection molding and purchasing materials in bulk.
Electerro has a diverse set of usages. Our tree can power electric bikes, segways, cars, and has the ability to conceal extended battery storage with a bench next to the base of the trunk. Currently, our Electerro prototype is actively powering lights that wrap around the branches and the environmental pad's irrigation system.
As full-time students at Oregon Tech, we've had to balance all our responsibilities. In the last 60 days, we created a solar leaf for a local competition, designed and built a tree, and started the environmental analysis. Throughout this process, we traveled to track nationals, giving us only finals week to complete our prototype, and that was just before leaving for our summer internships.
We are grateful to InventOR for assisting us in this journey, but we don't stop here. We have opened a bank account specific for Electerro and the start of our LLC process. Next, we want to work with VirtuLab on grant writing to fund the design patent process we have started with the help of a lawyer to create our draft design patent. Finally, we would like to do a marketability check to ensure we do not infringe on any current product patents. Electerro is ready. We are not just a product, we are building a legacy of environmentally considerate renewables. Thank you for your time. I'm Hannah Wolf, and this is
Mariano Segura.
It's very exciting to see that you are close to a final design and wish the best with the turbine integration. We have a couple questions from the judges. Can you share more about the benefits of the environmental pad that's included in your design?
Yes, so the environmental pad is being used for heavy metal chemical leaching and other issues that are currently seen in renewable energy sources. Our pad is this isolated source that we're going to be able to use when comparing to current sources, so you have an idea on how much environmentally beneficial our system is to competitors.
How did you decide on this tree shape over others?
This tree shape is really similar to psychological understanding of organisms whenever they're in their native environment for holding its unique branching structure and systems like the golden ratio for curvatures rather than straight edges like we see in a lot of current tree structures that are manufactured.
Thank you, Electerro. Representing the University of Oregon, we have GeneGazer. This innovative approach to nutrition is seeking to leverage the ever-evolving science of nutrition and genetics, creating a more complete nutrition supplement for patients in mental health treatment. They hope to one day expand the project to provide clinicians with resources for patients with complex needs associated with some conditions by providing customized nutritional plans. Please welcome GeneGazer.
Hi, my name's Daniel Freed. I'm the co-founder of GeneGazer, and we want to use... Hi, my name's Daniel Freed. I'm the co-founder of GeneGazer, and we want to use personalized nutrition to improve mental wellness. See, the bread you ate this morning, it was fortified with a compound called folic acid. This was added in 1998 primarily to help women and babies, but folates, vitamin B9, is also super important for your brain. It's the primary source of neurotransmitters dopamine and serotonin. However, 1 in 3 adults have genetic changes to the way that you process this vitamin B9, and that increases their risk of depression. Now, personalized nutrients can be a solution to some of this. Our minimum viable product is a personalized folate supplement using these biomarkers. Now, this is an evidence-based solution. We're trying to commercialize 40 years of folate research to build this genetic profile to personalize this. There's also a large existing market of vitamin products such as mood, memory, mental health. Products exist in this space and seem quite popular. So why isn't someone doing this? Well, genomics is complicated, and it's a new field. Dealing with the data from genetics in 2021 is a lot like the internet in 1990 or microcomputers in the late 70s. We're seeing the first real applications of genomics into the consumer space without needing a team of scientists or a government appropriation. So our big value proposition is that this is precision targeted. We want to use biomarkers to target nutrition as a treatment and get your body exactly what it needs based on your genes. And this provides an end-to-end solution. We combine genetics and nutrition into a single streamlined subscription service. Now, supplements are a $41 billion industry, but they're highly fragmented. On one end, you have Kirkland daily multivitamins, and on the other, you have Routine, which is a genetically personalized multivitamin. GeneGazer wants to exist in the sweet spot between medicine and wellness at a high degree of personalization. There are things like prenatal supplements and the supplement product Deplin, which are used medically. And as further validation, the company Royal DSM has invested $100 million into the company Hologram Sciences to provide direct-to-consumer genetic genetically informed, personalized supplements. Here's our current customer journey. This is Olivia. She has 23andMe results. She takes out the data and puts it into this third-party service and gets back a genetic analysis. She's gone from 50,000 data points to a couple hundred data points, but she still needs to buy supplements. She has to educate herself, Google, go on Reddit or Facebook, and figure out what all this means. GeneGazer wants to streamline this complex manual process into a simple subscription service. So here are my actual genetics. I couldn't hope to explain this. It's complicated. There's letters and numbers and colors, but these things can be algorithmically integrated into supplements. Here is the current pile of supplements that I take daily, and this could be integrated into a single pill in our system. So this could be personalized. We'd use genetics and provide individuals with exactly what they need. Here's our production process. We would ideally in the future be using an automated powder dispensing system, which would be connected to the bioinformatics pipeline. This would then go into a mixing system, and then it would be pressed into dissolvable tablets. Here's our company team. I am the CEO. I'm joined by Sam West in finance, Ashley Crutchfield, our clinician and our alternative medicine specialist, and Lawrence Neal, our data scientist. We received a $5,000 Phase 0 SBIR grant from the state of Oregon in 2020. I won the Provost Innovation Challenge at University of Oregon for $5,000 and received a $5,000 Rainmaker grant, as well as being named Founder of the Year. We also received $2,500 in prototyping money from Invent Oregon, and that allowed us to develop our minimum viable product. Our next steps are launching the minimum viable product, and then this will allow us to collect the data we need, and then we can start building an actual clinical decision-making tool, and that can provide precision medicine. I'm Daniel Freed. This is GeneGazer. Thank you.
Great presentation, Daniel. Looking forward to seeing more about how your process can help others. We do have one question from the judges for you.
Of course.
What factors went into choosing which segment to focus on? Which area of healthcare would you like to make an impact on first?
Great. Well, obviously I want to make an impact on mental health first. It's a clear need in our current society. We've gone from about 10% of people endorsing symptoms of anxiety and depression to nearly 40 during COVID, so it's very timely. And what was the first part of the question again?
What factors went into, into choosing which segment to focus on?
Yeah, so we are primarily focusing on a younger segment. We're targeting the 18 to 30, older Gen Z to younger millennials. They both are very value conscious and are more interested in their mental health and self-care than other older generations. They also have a number of things like generally being more interested in direct-to-consumer subscription services and may have existing genetic profiles, so they make a great target to help us bootstrap a larger product.
Okay. Thank you, Daniel.
You're welcome.
Prior to today's broadcast, we were able to catch up with Safe Start, the 2020 winners of Invent Oregon. They have continued their entrepreneurial journey by forming Atman Products, Inc.
Thank you for having us, first of all. I think Invent Oregon just gave us like the validation we needed to take off. We were going to do it either way, but I think after winning the competition, it just made everything real. So first step we did was to incorporate. We incorporated under Atman product. The word Atman means breathing in German, which is aligned with our mission to keep people alive. And ever since, we've been just working, trying to get to the manufacturer stage, basically.
After Invent Oregon, we went back to the drawing board. So we just started doing more market research and really just trying to just build a company for the future. So, we just went and we talked to a lot more people. different projects like we were working on. It's just like our go-to-market strategy, how we're going to market the product. So it started to become really real after Invent Oregon, and then seeking some more funding, because we know we're going to need a lot more of that.
Did you guys maintain your relationship with your mentor system that you had during Invent Oregon, and how has that been useful in taking things to the next step? And congratulations on the new name.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have a great relationship with Himalaya. We've probably talked to her 5 to 10 times, like meetings and an hour, 2 hours each almost, just talking to her about the different steps and that we run into in challenges. So we really appreciate Himalaya, and like that's like going to be a really like lifelong relationship that we've built with her.
We work closely with the entrepreneurship department at our school, the Big Center of Entrepreneurship and Leadership, specifically with Chris Hutchings and Katarina Hunter and Brian Bedell. They provided us with mentors to talk to. They connected us with board of advisors that started companies and were successful as an entrepreneur for us to talk to and bounce ideas off of them. They had us apply to different funding, very minimal funding, but still, every dollar counts. And they were pretty much with us every step of the way so far, and assured us that even after we both just graduated like 2 weeks ago, even after graduation, we still have them as contacts. We still have them as people we can reach out to for help. And it's been great so far.
Yeah, they've been really supportive. I think something that comes to mind was Ramez and I were both taking a lot of like entrepreneurship classes during our last semester, and we were able to work on our company during the different projects for our classes. So we were able to work on our company and do school at the same time. So that was really helpful too.
Excellent. The topic of funding is a really big subject that gets covered throughout the competition and through some of the panels that were played earlier this week. What are some things that you would like to share with the teams that are participating this year about that journey to take it from grants and being kind of insulated within the university program to really starting up on your own and securing funding?
I think first thing I would say is whatever you think you need, double it. I think one thing we did was underestimate how much we needed. So it's easy to, underestimate than overestimate, because you don't really know like how things are in the real world. But as soon as you figure that out, I think you're in a pretty good position. And there are so many resources out there. You just need, to sit down and take the time to find them, from government resources to private resources to institutional resources. Like there's so many. For you to sift through them will take you some time, but it's definitely worth it, because one thing you can't do without is money, for sure.
Yeah, and I think just to add on top of that, when we started looking for more funding and things like that, it just kind of just bursted our bubble that college kind of puts you in. It's like, oh, it's a startup. Like they kind of baby you and bring you along step by step. But once you get into the real world and like you're asking people for money for investment, like you need more tangible type of like assets, like business plans, like how exactly you're going to do it. Like it goes beyond just an idea or having just a prototype like we had. We needed more validation on like, okay, are we actually doing this? What's the business plan? Like what's the financial projections? Like all those things. It just becomes really real.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. And that actually leads great into my next question. What are some of the things that you would love for the teams to know about being in the competition, or kind of looking back, like wish you had taken advantage of, or wish that you had celebrated in the moment? We understand that participating can be very stressful, but what are some things that you hope that each one of them sort of takes with them and learns?
Something that comes to my mind is I know that InventOR, of course, does seminars and talks about the different topics. We went to about 90% of them. We probably missed like 1 or 2. But taking that as like the groundwork of it, because they'll give you like a lot of terms that you don't know, but taking notes and like researching those terms is just going to lead you down another rabbit hole. That's definitely just going to help you in the long term. So I think just using those as like frameworks for like future, when you do run into like different challenges and problems, like you can always go back and like, oh, what did we talk about here, and things like that.
Yeah, and definitely don't think that because you went to a session about valuation of your company that you're an expert about it. Just like Matt said, you need to take notes, you need to do your own research after the session. It's just a groundwork. Another thing is, one thing that we did really well, me and Matt, is that we like celebrated every little win we had. I think it's very important, and oftentimes you overlook all the successes you've had just because, they're not very huge or they're not monumental. Yeah, monument, you know, but like you need to stop and appreciate all the hard work that you've done, because it is a lot of work, you know, and just sitting down and reflecting on what you've done so far and how much you've accomplished, even as a little startup that doesn't have any revenue or any sales or whatever, is very important. It really gives you like the motivation to keep going.
Yeah, and just enjoy the process of InventOR and everything about it. So
congratulations for making it through the finals. You're not done yet, but it is a step to celebrate for sure that you saw it through. You participated in a statewide competition. Good luck in the finals. Don't be nervous. It's a little hard, but you got it.
It's inspiring to see where past participants in InventOR are today. We are about to hear from our next team. Presenting from George Fox University is Alpha Prosthetics. Their approach to fitting end users with prosthetics not only provides accessibility, but integrates extraordinary design and comfort. Please welcome Alpha Prosthetics.
Hello, my name is Clayton Rhodes, and I am the team lead for Alpha Prosthetics. In order to eat the food that I like, I have to eat them like a dog. This is a quote from one of our clients who was a valuable resource in learning about disabled individuals. When the team first heard this during our interviews, we knew we had to start Alpha Prosthetics. No one should have to experience that. A problem. Today, the prosthetics market is leaving people behind who shouldn't get left behind. People whose disabilities are too specific for a mass-producible product. That's why today, Alpha Prosthetics is pleased to show you guys our solution, the Alpha Hand. The Alpha Hand is a passive, 3D printed wearable device that uses a technology that takes the client's abled motion and transfers it into a gripping or opening motion of the hand. The Alpha Hand is fully customizable in size, purpose, and material makeup, all while being affordable. The technology used in the Alpha Hand can be designed in many ways, allowing adaptation to many problems or movements. This design doesn't use any electronics, which means no needing to change batteries, and is completely waterproof. It can also be made out of a certified skin-safe material for a more comfortable and safe fit. In 2020, the prosthetics market was worth $9.2 billion, and that number is expected to rise to $13.2 billion by 2028. Alpha Prosthetics believes it can ride that wave by filling the void that larger prosthetic companies won't move into. These are some of the players in the current prosthetics market. Touch Bionics and Open Bionics both manufacture upper limb prosthetics, while these other companies do both prosthetics for limbs and mobility options such as wheelchairs and accessories. These products range in the thousands of dollars and can be upwards of $200,000. We love what these companies are doing and the lives they are changing, but we believe here at Alpha Prosthetics we can pull more customers into the market while solving problems that aren't being solved. We here at Alpha Prosthetics focus on not only the user's problem, but also their lifestyle and preferences when making a device. We get the client involved in the design process and keep constant communication and testing throughout the entire process. We spent the last 6 months perfecting a strategy and proving the concept with some of the devices shown, like a tabletop food conveyor and a tension glove. This is all while utilizing affordable manufacturing processes such as 3D printing, which allows our cost of production to be much lower than what's on the market. This allows our products to hit a price point that is much more favorable to consumers. We are looking at being about 90% direct to consumer and 10% selling to business. Each product we make will have 3 versions: ready to buy, custom, such as sizing and aesthetics, and task specific, which alters a model or creates a new one for a specific task. The Alpha Hand prices are listed, and this is with a cost of production of about $15, which we hope to cut by 33% in the near future with the new manufacturing process. Along with the physical products, we also offer subscription-based services: Care and Repair, which is similar to an insurance, and Grow Together, which allows for resizing and upgrading throughout the life of the product. The team was made in September of 2020, and we began our research in January. We began talking with clients and creating products and manufacturing strategies. This is also when we entered the InventOR competition at the college level. And then we became finalists in May. With the grants awarded by InventOR and their sponsors, we were able to prototype the Alpha Hand and get the necessary manufacturing equipment to continue production of the devices. In 2 to 3 months, we plan to have the Alpha Hand delivered to our client and an RTB model ready to sell. By year's end, we will have our website updated and polished so that we can begin bringing in clients on a much larger scale. We are all excited to have gotten this opportunity, have enjoyed changing lives, and looking forward to changing many more. We are Alpha Prosthetics, and we appreciate your time.
Great presentation. I've got a question from the judges here. What do you think the biggest impact in the daily lives of users will be?
So the biggest impact we think here at Alpha Prosthetics that we can have is just being able to use parts of the bodies that they weren't able to. The world around them wasn't created for their disabilities, and what our products would help do would help kind of bridge that gap and allow them more versatility in their daily lives.
What adaptations are you looking to work on next?
Yeah, so once we're finished with the hand, we'd love to move into much larger limbs and joints, so things like full motion of the arms, especially around the shoulders for those that need it.
Thank you, Team Alpha. Presenting next from Portland State, we have LivingEducation Center. This project is integrating biomimicry into design for education and health benefits. They are developing construction techniques that pull from biological structures in nature to create holistic and engaging spaces. This project is creating an atmosphere within classrooms that stimulates multiple parts of the brain and aids students who are neurodivergent. Please welcome LivingEducation Center.
Hi everyone, my name is Montserrat Vesquez Fonseca, founder of the LivingEducation Center, New Childhood Learning Through Urban Farming with Nature. How can the architecture of schools integrate urban farming and nature in their design for the future of the children they serve? Around the world, the typology of educational schools presents a dilemma in that it does not effectively address the environment in its approach to architectural design, thereby reinforcing the disconnect between humans and the environment which sustains them. Educational buildings which enclose children, separating the indoor from the outdoor environments, cause negative effects. We know that climate change, food insecurities, and issues of health and well-being will negatively affect the future of children, yet they are taught to rely on technology and lack hands-on experience in a multisensory environment. This has a rippling effect not only on children, but also on their families, friends, and communities. The architectural design of schools needs to offer humans a connection to the farms and the nature of their environments. The LivingEducation Center is a school for kindergarten through 12th grade, serving BIPOC students coming from low-income families and communities. My research shows many common issues that can negatively impact the future of children. The schools that serve these children are not designed to connect their indoor and outdoor environments. I'm proposing a new, unique school design, which will cultivate solving this dilemma with a unique educational building supported by an architectural setting which connects students to an innovative prototype. With the design of the school setting focused on the environment, I would utilize aspects of biophilia and biomimicry. I also will create a new indoor environment which incorporates natural sunlight, open space, and green space. Will also include new outdoor spaces which promote a sustainable, healthy, natural garden environment. Biomimicry is the imitation of the natural world in architectural design and will bring harmony to the structure of the building. The prototype will include agricultural technology, sustainability practices, and a reconnection of children to their natural surroundings. This new school will provide a rich, multi-sensory environment where children grow up learning about and participating in ecological, agricultural, and natural environments. It is my belief that children will thrive with organic sensory tools, working with their bodies to discover the natural ethos, capturing their spirit, brain power, and education in one place, the LivingEducation Center. The outdoor education market in the US is estimated to be at $1 trillion by 2027. I am planning to market the Living Education Center to any district looking to build a new school. I am also planning to work with the Department of Education, architects, designers, engineers, and municipalities to incorporate living education designs in planning and building future educational facilities and schools. Living education is aiming to create a new trend where our future schools are designed blending biomimicry, outdoor education, and the culture of the future generations of students in our communities, while nurturing for an environment-driven architectural design. During the last 90 days, I invested time to conduct my research around how to integrate the shape of the monarch caterpillar cocoon utilizing biomimicry design. I've developed the initial building designs, selected a potential site, and constructed an early stage mock-up of a section of the building to explore feasibility. After the Clean Tech Challenge, I'm planning to continue refining the building design as I take into account the different uses for classrooms, libraries, and outdoor spaces. The goal of the Living Education Center is to create new architecture design for our schools of the future that will nourish the leaders, scientists, and engineers of the future and develop their inclination utilizing earth-friendly science and engineering. Thank you.
That was beautiful and inspiring, Monse. Thank you. We have a question from our judges panel for you. What is the most important benefit you want young learners to gain from an immersive natural classroom?
Yeah, great question. I would say the benefit to the students compared to traditional classrooms where they are typically enclosed, there's no interaction of indoor and outdoor space. My design provides that visibility to the natural surroundings, and the feeling on the inside is having that open, comforting space that allows for education and learning.
Thank you, Monse. We will now be joined by Carol Dahl, Executive Director at the Lemelson Foundation, for a conversation with Senator Ron Wyden.
Your screen.
I'm very excited to welcome Oregon Senior Senator Ron Wyden. Senator Wyden has been a tireless advocate for innovation and entrepreneurship in Oregon and across the U.S. over his 40 years of public service, including 25 in the U.S. Senate. Senator Wyden has led efforts to support pathways for inventors and innovators, including landmark education policy, broadband access initiatives, and legislation to create access to export markets for U.S. companies. He has also worked to lessen the burden of student debt, which is a major barrier for entrepreneurs. He currently serves as chair of the Senate Finance Committee and sits on the Senate Budget, Energy, and Natural Resources Committees, as well as the Senate Selection Committee on Intelligence and the Joint Committee on Taxation. I'm delighted to have the Senator here with us today at the InventOR Finals. Thank you for taking the time to join us today, Senator. You've been such a great champion for invention, innovation, and entrepreneurship in Oregon and across the country. Today, we're excited to have a chance to hear your thoughts on how we can cultivate the next generation of Oregonians, people like the competitors here today at InventOR, to create positive change in their communities while growing the economy as they launch new enterprises and bring innovations to the market. First, I was wondering if you could share a little bit about why you think invention and innovation are critical for growing Oregon's economy and helping us emerge from the pandemic.
Carol, thank you, and thank you for the terrific programs that you all consistently put together to encourage young people to promote innovation and invention, and it's just a huge plus for our state, your good work. And to me, innovation is particularly important for a state like Oregon that is 3,000 miles away from so much of the power centers, at least traditional power centers in our country on the East Coast of the United States. And one of the best ways for us to market our state is to consistently produce innovations that will take the whole country's interest, and they'll want to do business with us and want to support our schools and be part of training and the like. And let me use as an example something that was in the Oregonian a couple of days ago, talking about the huge demand for recreation and recreation services coming up over the next few months. We all know that the pandemic has been such a grueling experience for our country, for our state, and Oregonians are just hungry to be outside. And the fact is that recreation is a multi-billion-dollar annual economy for us. It is a recreation engine that we have cultivated in every corner of our state, and the technological spin-offs that we can generate for services and products that will help fuel that recreation engine are enormous. I mean, we all know about the early efforts to pioneer new types of garments and shirts. We know about the filtration systems that people were interested in for state-of-the-art personal water products. I can tell you, if a hiker is up lost on the top of a mountain, the great work we've done with UAVs is absolutely key to trying to ensure mountaintop rescue. So I think by way of my starting is, if you look at what's coming up in Oregon, a big summer, a lot of people outdoors, I'd really encourage all the wonderful young people who are following this program to look for those technological spin-offs that are going to be naturals for people to use outside. There'll be products sold in Oregon. There'll be products sold all over the country.
That's great advice, and also builds on our strengths. One of the things we've observed in our work at the Lemelson Foundation in Oregon and also across the country is that if you want to see invention and innovation driving economic growth, we need to focus not only on enabling new companies, but also enabling the people who will invent those products, start and scale those companies. You've done so much work with your colleagues to strengthen education, create new opportunities for young people. There's also been some early work, obviously, at the federal level in the Department of Education, NSF, and other agencies to infuse invention and innovation into how students are taught, especially in STEM. How do you think we can integrate invention and innovation into more federal education initiatives and make sure that every child graduates with the skills they need to invent solutions to problems and to take advantage of opportunities in their own communities and around the world?
Well, I think one of the first steps, and I'm not going to get all political on everybody this afternoon, but we know that the last 4 years really hasn't produced the support that we need for STEM, which is, a breakthrough in terms of encouraging innovative, capable graduates to be the next generation of inventors. I'm for also what's come to be known as STEAM, which is incorporating arts, because I think that also is a great path for so many young people. And I want to also, apropos of your answer, talk about how you can't tap the country's hunger for trained, qualified, productive workers for the high skill, high wage jobs while not giving full opportunity to 100% of the potential workers. And that is not the case with so many women really being denied opportunity to go into these fields. They need to have the same opportunity as everybody else. And there needs to be a beefed up effort to deal with some of the practices that people have seen in the sciences, the sexual harassment in sciences. That has to be beefed up as well.
I could not agree with you more on that statement. And you point out the issue of inequity, and obviously people who are coming from different backgrounds are not having the same opportunity. What are your thoughts about how we can also address the discrepancies for young folks who come from different demographics so that they can participate in entrepreneurship and invention?
Well, we ought to make sure that those inventors are healthy. And one of the areas I'm so concerned about is the tremendous racial disparities, in healthcare. If you look at a lot of affluent white communities, they have what amounts to a technology treasure trove for them. But for a lot of our BIPOC communities, it's pretty close to a healthcare desert. Now, apropos of your inventors and the wonderful people that are following this, I had a hearing in the Finance Committee 2 days ago on telemedicine, and particularly how we can use technology to expand healthcare services. I'm not, trying to push anybody into a career or anything like that, but for inventors, I'll just tell them what I heard a couple of days ago, sitting in the seat where I am now, tremendous interest in audio-only telemedicine kinds of services, because a lot of poor families, that's all they can afford. So if any of your inventors are looking at audio only telehealth, I think you're going to find a big market.
That's very helpful. And I think it's great you're giving them some ideas about critical needs we have that inventors can solve. One of the issues we also see is that access to higher education is becoming increasingly difficult in the US, particularly because of cost considerations, and that's serving as a barrier as well to students. And students who do seek out those 2- and 4-year degrees are graduating with levels of debt that make entrepreneurship a particularly impossible career pursuit. What do you think can be done at the federal level to make sure that students who attend colleges and universities and graduate have the ability to fulfill their dreams and their potential to become entrepreneurs and innovators?
There are 2 or 3 points that come to mind. The President's Families Plan includes a proposal for free community college for all Americans. So that is attractive in terms of a debt-free option for continuing education. But it seems to me that's only a piece of the puzzle, and we want to help new students avoid taking on debt in the first place. So I've been a leader in a major piece of federal legislation called Know Before You Go, to try to make sure that college students really have information on graduation rates and debt levels and the like. It also puts some free enterprise into the whole higher education system, because if one school knows that they're not doing well on those measurements, they may not get students like the schools that are doing well. So I think we want them to be able to have debt-free options, but we also want to empower them to have more influence on holding down costs. I've been supportive of student debt forgiveness, which would give back the capital entrepreneurs and innovators funds that they need for innovative ventures. And one other idea that people may not have heard much about, you'll have a lot of young people who will be the first generation in their family to graduate from college, maybe from a BIPOC community, very excited to get a new job, high paying and the like. Their employer has a very attractive retirement plan, but the worker has to match the employer's share under a provision I'm going to put in the retirement portion of the law. If the employer is offering a package, the payment that the student has to make on their student loan debt would count as their share, and they could get their retirement.
Well, these are some terrific ideas. I hope that they move forward. They create more opportunities for young innovators, inventors, entrepreneurs to take their ideas forward. I really appreciate you being here today. And on behalf of the Lemelson Foundation and InventOR, I want to thank you again for taking the time to join us. Before we finish, I want to give you a chance to talk directly to the student teams competing here today. There's such an amazing group of highly motivated and exciting young individuals who come from every corner of Oregon, and they've invented and prototyped products with immense potential for impact for the state and even broader beyond that. What are your thoughts? What would you like to leave them with today?
Well, we're all really interested in seeing what kinds of contributions you're going to make, because just as Carol said, you all already have stepped up and made a difference in your communities. So no matter if you win or lose in this competition, you ought to be very proud of the work you're doing. The first thing I tell students is, don't follow my model. Now, that may strike you as a little bit odd. I went to school on a basketball scholarship, dreaming of playing in the NBA. And at 6'4", I was too small, and I made up for it by being really slow. So I put all my eggs into just one basket. And finally, early in my college career, I said, I'm not going to the NBA. And finally, I started studying and I played catch-up ball. So I think you know that because of modern communications and modern transportation, the world has shrunk so dramatically. And for example, I look back on it, I sure wish that I had taken Spanish and Chinese and made an effort to really pick up a diverse set of learning experiences that I didn't, simply because I was so obsessed with playing in the NBA. I'll also tell you that the same principles apply to the technology field. When I showed up in the Senate, nobody knew how to use a computer other than Pat Leahy. So I got a chance to write the foundational tech laws. Section 230, that's the foundation for platforms, the digital signatures law, the internet tax non-discrimination bill. But technology is constantly changing. So recently I wrote the Algorithm Accountability Act, because I think this notion that somehow algorithms are this scientific process for driving decisions is really off base, because so much of people's individual biases go in to these decisions. If you had told me when I was your age that I'd be spending all this time in technology and I'd write something called the Algorithm Accountability Act, I go to high schools a lot and they sometimes say, Ron, how does somebody your age know what an algorithm is? And I said, well, I had to play catch-up ball because I didn't work as hard as you guys are doing right now. So I'll just close, Carol, by way of saying that I think that, first of all, the work that you do and Rachel and Juan, I think it's extraordinary. It's really the Oregon way. You know, we've been talking about issues to give opportunities for young people. I didn't hear anybody talk about liberals and conservatives and Democrats and Republicans. We talked about the Oregon way, which is good ideas and creativity and innovation. And so I want to say to those who arranged the program, Carol and others, and to all the terrific students, that their and your collective passion and commitment to creative, fresh ideas is really vintage Oregon. This is Oregon at its best. And I look forward to hearing more about the winners and following these great students and the wonderful program you all run, Carol, in the days ahead. So big thanks. And let's say, for purposes of today, I guess the program is over. But in my own view, working with you and the students is in the to be continued department. Okay?
Well, thank you so much, Senator. We really appreciate your time today and all the inspirational words and all the good work you do. It's fantastic.
A lot of fun. To be continued, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.
See ya.
Next, we will be welcoming BioMass Gas from Oregon Institute of Technology, working on an innovative biofuel system. By sourcing agricultural plant waste, they are developing technology to convert these biomaterials into usable energy. Their system alleviates carbon emissions created when these plant materials are burnt off and provides a much-needed renewable energy source. Please welcome BioMass Gas.
When you picture rural America, you might imagine some rolling hills or maybe a green pasture. But what you don't notice is the massive amount of untapped potential energy. My name is Aaron West.
And I'm Darby Twite.
We are going to change the way you look at energy. I think we can all agree that this last year has thrown many challenges our way. One of these challenges is severe weather caused by climate change, which can threaten our way of life. The effects of climate change paired with high demand for energy is causing frequent power outages. But when the power goes out, our lives don't stop. Your home needs to stay warm, the water needs to be pumped to our faucets, and farmers need to be able to grow our food. Our product fits the need for renewable baseload power. Biomass gasification is the key by converting plants into power, specifically using crop byproducts that are traditionally burned in the field for disposal. We reduce waste and create renewable energy. Because we are taking advantage of the carbon cycle in our technology, it is carbon neutral and sustainable. To make power, we need to make synthetic gas, we call syngas, from our biomass material. This is done by breaking down the molecular bonds within the plants, and this produces flammable gases like carbon monoxide and hydrogen that can be burned within a generator. Throughout the past few months, we learned many things. Most notably, the first version of idea is often terrible. To combat this, we pushed hard to iterate 3 versions of our prototype. Our current system is sized to produce 15 kilowatts of power, and to put that in perspective, if we run our machine at output for 1 hour, it would produce enough energy to power a home for an entire year. I'll now pass it off to Darby to talk about our financial information.
Aaron and I are super excited to contribute to the town that we've grown so fond of by starting this business in Klamath Falls, Oregon. We have built some wonderful relationships within the community here. We are business partners with a local farm. We've worked with local businesses to meet manufacturing needs and plan to recruit other students from Oregon Tech to come work with us. From Klamath Falls, we can easily reach the rest of Oregon and Northern California to kickstart our business before catering to a more global market. We plan to market our product to farmers first before branching into other potential industries. We are most familiar with farmers and farming practices, and that's why we're focusing here first. From personal experience, we've seen that farmers have a lot of biomass and plenty of byproduct to go around. It is estimated that there is 288 megawatts worth of potential power within biomass in the state of Oregon. That's enough power to support the city of Portland for 35 years. Our product can support 2 major needs of our consumers: reliable baseload power and a way to dispose of agricultural waste. We're selling a turnkey automated system with controls, gasifier, and generator. We expect to make our system for $20,000 and sell it for $60,000. Now, we know 60 grand sounds like a lot, but this isn't meant to be purchased by the everyday consumer. This is meant for large industrial companies and industrial farms that often invest in expensive equipment like generators. Companies all over the world are researching biofuels, and syngas production is included. But these companies are making large industrial systems. This, paired with the low cost of fossil fuels, makes our market practically untapped. We will be providing one of the first commercial scale biomass energy systems. Before bringing our product to market, there's a few more things that need to be done. We need to do further testing and development. We need to build our brand and market to potential consumers. But most importantly, we need funding for this venture. Thank you for listening.
We'd love to answer your questions now.
Yes, thank you, BioMass Gas. You guys have certainly persevered through setbacks to bring this wonderful innovation into reality. I've got a couple questions from the judges. Energy prices vary across the country, but have you estimated what the payoff time would be for users in your community and around Oregon?
We have. Our farm that we're working with here in Klamath Falls, we estimated how much power they use with the greenhouses that they need to stay lit and all of the exhaust systems. And we found that our machine could pay for itself within 3 years.
Great, thank you. Now, the process of hooking a generator into a user's grid, how intensive do you see that process being?
Well, we have a control system that makes our machine completely automated. So this means that all the operator will need to do is hook it up to a system and turn the key.
Great. Thank you, BioMass Gas.
Thank you.
Next up, Music Mix from Southern Oregon University is bringing us an app tailored for music lovers. Their goal is to create a space where supporters of live music can connect with and find new groups of fans to attend live shows with. The app will allow artists and concert goers to share information and details to make every live music experience special. Please welcome Music Mix.
Hello, my name is Thomas, and I'm here to introduce you to an app my colleagues and I have created called Music Mix, a community for music fans to connect all over the world. The innovative idea of Music Mix came from my colleague Leanna. She wanted to go to a concert but couldn't find any friends with the same music interest as her. So she thought it would be useful to have a social media app dedicated to finding local shows, arranging meetups for live events, and building a community for fans of the same artists. Now, what is currently being used by the music community? Well, there's Facebook, but that doesn't necessarily cater to America's youth. According to a 2018 study done by the Pew Research Center, Facebook is no longer the most popular social media, and only around 51% of youths actually use it. There's also Discord, but that is mainly utilized by the gaming community and not so much music fans. So obviously there's a need for a primary platform where music fans and artists can connect and build a community centered around music. That is where Music Mix comes into play. Music Mix is a social media app that focuses on pop music events and pop music communities for fans alike. In the online landscape of music, you've probably already heard of apps such as MySpace, Bandcamp, and Bands in Town. However, we offer something different that these apps do not. Instead of outdated coding, pandering to the indie music scene, selling physical records, and not being able to make group chats for live events, our user-friendly app offers a music discovery page, location-based events, group chats, music news, and community pages. Our app allows you to select locations to find live events, such as your hometown or a town you may be visiting. This is great for artists to advertise any shows that they may be having in their local area, and for fans to find more events to go to, wherever in the world that they may be. In addition to that, users have the ability to directly message each other, whether it be in private messages or in group chat settings. The key focus of Music Mix is about communication, and our app highlights the communications between artists and fans. Our primary audience are young fans of pop music around the ages 20 to 25, as that is who is mostly going to music events. This is also young fans who are in urban areas, as that's where most pop music events are happening. However, that is not our only audience. We have also tailored many aspects of our app to fans of live music, social media influencers, and those who just love to travel. Additionally, this app is great for local businesses like record stores to advertise any deals they may have and for fans to get in contact with those local businesses. And of course, Music Mix is great for artists trying to connect with fans and build up their fan base. Currently, there's 2 versions of Music Mix offered, a free version and a premium version. When we interviewed personas for our app, we found that most people do not want to pay for social media. So we made sure a free version was available for everyone with the occasional ad. There is also our premium version, which is available for 99 cents a month or $9.99 a year. The key difference between the two is that The premium version allows international communication without any of the ads and the awesome ability to talk directly with artists. Throughout our time in Invent Oregon, our prototype has come a long way. As you can see from these photos, we have transformed from an idea scribbled on paper to a rough outline to the prototype we have now. Over the past couple months in Invent Oregon, we have learned lots of useful skills such as how to use Adobe XD and Adobe Illustrator, how to conduct persona interviews and how to add those interviews into our prototype. And of course, we have learned a lot about how social media apps operate. In fact, by using your camera's smartphone to scan this QR code that is on the screen, you can get a demo prototype of your app in the palm of your hand, and you can see what kind of work we've been doing on it. In the future, we hope to improve our prototype even more by having a real working app that is cross-platform for people to download. Other goals for the future of Music Mix is to become a main social media app, expand to other genres, and potentially partner with other apps such as Spotify. That concludes the slideshow for our app Music Mix. With Music Mix, you are able to connect with music fans all over the world and stay in contact with events happening in your local area. My team and I are happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you all for sharing. This looks like a great opportunity for music fans to connect. I have a question for you from the judges. Based on speaking with potential customers in the ideation phase versus now, what have been the biggest changes you've made?
I think at first, our idea for Music Mix was to expand to all genres of music, and now we've curated it to mostly pop music and pop subgenres, so I think that's the biggest change we've made for our audience.
Great. Thank you, Music Mix. Invent Oregon would not be possible without our generous sponsors. We'd like to share a short video overviewing the work that the Lemelson Foundation does. Their dedication to supporting innovation education is fueling the next generation of inventors and entrepreneurs.
My wife Dorothy and I know firsthand what it takes to be a successful inventor. Creativity, vision, and perseverance.
He was always creating things. He worked day and night, and he just went on like that for his entire life.
My father invented across a range of categories, whether those are inventions involving light or inventions involving electronics, microprocessing.
Jerry Lemelson felt passionately about the power of invention to drive the economy. He felt passionately about that as an American.
If you look historically at the period my dad was born, people like Edison and Bell and the Wright brothers and many others were exemplars of this kind of American dream. But he felt that that was slipping. He wanted to do something about that. The Lemelson Foundation is really the only foundation in the world that is dedicated entirely to promoting inventors and bringing products of their inventive creativity to the marketplace to create a better world. The foundation began by supporting some of America's most prestigious education and cultural institutions such as MIT and the Smithsonian.
We both had this notion that we had to develop an inspirational platform here for kids. We wanted them to see that invention could be a way of life.
The Lemelson MIT program recognizes inventors at all stages of their career. And also we recognize students that have a portfolio of invention.
VentureWell is realizing Jerry's vision to bring innovation and entrepreneurship into the heart of higher education.
The original idea was to create what he termed E-teams, these entrepreneurial teams that would involve an inventor and a design person and someone in business.
They can take an idea, translate it through the innovation process into a business that can become investable and hopefully sustainable for the future.
We've really put our effort in the last decade to promoting individual inventors in the developing world, where the need, if anything, was many times greater.
We really want to focus on something we think of as impact inventing. Inventions that have social impact are environmentally responsible, and ultimately can become financially self-sustaining.
There's a real vacuum actually in the funding space. Once you've succeeded, everybody wants to fund you. They're all running after you to give you money. But it's in that initial stage when, you're the only person who believes in it. You need an organization that believes in you.
We can step in and be in it for a long haul to see if those things will actually work. So I think if Jerry Lemelson were alive today and looked at what the foundation had accomplished, I think what he would be excited about is that the vision he knew and saw here in the United States also is having such amazing impact.
Oh, I think he'd be excited and thrilled, but he'd also have a few changes that he would make.
If even one young American pursues a successful career in invention, the payoff from the investment will be worth every penny.
Well, that one kid is now thousands in the United States and other parts of the world.
I would like the foundation to instill in every person that creating is the most energizing thing you can do, and working to produce a change in the world is a divine thing.
Presenting next from Oregon Health and Science University, we have STAR Lab. This team is developing a virtual platform to train medical students remotely. The training platform will be programmable under multiple disciplines, and it is designed to accommodate students with constraints on their schedules or are performing other works that keep them from a traditional teaching hospital. Please welcome STAR Lab.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Ashraf. I'm a second-year medical student here at OHSU, and I'll be presenting on behalf of the STAR Lab. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk to you about augmented reality technology to promote virtual technical skills training. We have no disclosures. And so there's significant variability in attaining high-quality technical training in procedural-based fields in medicine, and this is largely due to the geographic distribution of experts and general medical training. The solution we propose to you today is the use of augmented reality technology to overcome these traditional geographic barriers in a cost-effective and resource-conscious manner. And to illustrate this problem, I want to illustrate it from a medical student perspective. This is a visual of the state of Oregon, and the red stars represent the placements of our surgical rotations. And as you can see, a few of these rotations are located within larger cities such as Portland and Beaverton and Salem. However, the majority of them are really located in rural underserved settings such as Coos Bay, Klamath Falls, and LeGrand. And so the traditional approach to surgical training is twofold. One, it takes place in the didactic workshop where we're learning how to utilize these technical skills. And then the simulation center where one instructor is assigned to 3 to 4 students at a table, and they provide mentorship and guidance as they proceed and progress through their technical skills training. The solution we propose is transforming this traditional approach in the simulation center to an online video-based platform. Similarly, you have one instructor that's in charge of helping 3 to 4 students, but the students and the instructors are able to do this from the comfort of their home or their office, regardless of their location. And so when we're developing our prototype, we had an emphasis on comfort and adaptability. And so here on the left, we see trainee-defined location. So if, for example, if I'm a medical student in Klamath Falls, I can still get the advanced surgical training that I would get at OHSU from a highly trained advanced surgeon at OHSU. In essence, this could take place at really any time of the day, depending on their clinical rotation schedule. And so the revenue model we intend on using for this study is a subscription-based model where we're charging our target customers an annual licensing fee. And we believe that this can be a service-based model that is low cost, using readily available technology, and something that's going to be highly valuable for the healthcare system now and in the future. Our target customers are primarily organizations that house medical trainees and medical providers, such as hospital systems and academic centers. We want to currently focus on hospital systems as they're the organizations that tend to have a less proportion of advanced surgeons when compared to tertiary academic centers such as OHSU. In terms of acquiring our customers, we intend on developing a proof of concept pilot study to demonstrate the efficacy of our concept. We want to see is our concept as equal to or superior to the traditional approach of surgical training. With that, we plan on publishing our results through academic journals and then presenting at local, regional, and national, doing local, regional, and national presentations. From then on, we intend to advertise this through surgical societies and social media such as Twitter. And our ultimate goal is to be accredited by the Graduate Medical Education. The ability to be accredited allows us to use this widespread across the nation throughout the majority of medical institutions. These are our list of our competitors. What I will highlight here is what makes us unique. And I think what makes us unique is that we proactively educate medical trainees and providers in real time with individualized feedback and support. We're able to adapt this concept to other procedural-based fields such as interventional cardiology and interventional radiology. With the list of these competitors, you may know that these competitors are primarily focused within the surgical field. And it's a very cost-prohibitive program that requires a lot of time and money for not only the company, but also for the surgeon who is actively wanting to help other surgeons. This is a 2-year timeline of what we hope to accomplish. For the first several months, we intend on recruiting surgical trainers within our institution and then developing an augmented reality curriculum that can be utilized over a 3-month period with medical students in a patient-free environment using an existing video platform. From then on, we would like to assess the trainer and trainee experience by performing a retrospective video review and then analyzing the progression of these technical skills and competency among students, and then developing a surgical education platform. And why is this important? For 2 reasons. We're improving access to care throughout the region, and we're also improving patient safety. Ultimately, we want to improve the distribution of skilled clinicians, improve patient-centric care, and save costs and time for the patient, clinician, and health systems. And so our progress since the initial pitch, we've made progress on creating that pilot study. We're creating alliances with other academic institutions and surgeons, and we're continuing to define the needs that will adapt to our prototype development. So in conclusion, there's an untapped potential for implementing this education procedural specialties. There's a tremendous opportunity to save time and cost for patients, clinicians, and healthcare organizations. And in the future, we hope to identify barriers to implementing this technology. And ultimately, our goal is to expand this to involve telepresence, telementoring, and ultimately telesurgery, where we're able to perform telesurgery remotely. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much for sharing with us today. It's inspiring. I have a question here from the judges. With the platform being so widely accessible, what plans have you made to deal with language barriers?
It's a great question. I think the way we hope to implement this is using, I think that's a big barrier that we're planning on addressing. And I think I think worldwide, I think there's, within surgery, there's a common language that most surgeons use within the field, but also using translation services, I think has been effective in the past. Looking at past studies, the use of remote translation services has been shown to be effective in helping communicate within surgeons across, not only within the country, but also abroad.
Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from 4U Mask, representing Southwestern Oregon Community College. The COVID-19 pandemic has seen many innovations and social changes. As a society, we're shifting to becoming more sensitive to how they treat our own and public health. This team is developing masking technology that will be more responsive to filter viruses, keeping medical professionals and the public safer. Please welcome 4U Mask.
Hi, welcome to 4U Mask. My name is Daniela Natalivin Bella Garcia, and
my name is Isaid Saucedo from Salt Lake Community College.
And we are 4U Mask. All right, For You mask will offer a better communication. It is comfortable, breathable, and it has a variety of sizes, which is small, medium, and large. For You mask also had a problem state. We have the problem state and we have a solution. During COVID-19 pandemic issue, there was a lot of people wearing a face mask that didn't help to avoid or protect from the particles that cause virus or any other infections. For You mask has developed a design that helps to communicate better and helps to breathe to the people. My teammate Isaí Saucedo will explain what are the advantages of For You mask.
The advantages, some of the characteristics of the For You mask that it makes it better is it has better communication with the help of the face mask bracket, and not only helps with the better communication, but the face mask bracket helps to have a better breathing, since the bracket makes the face mask fabric not stick to your mouth every time you breathe. This mask will come in different sizes, and each size be adjusted in the most comfortable way that you like. And this mask is washable. All the materials used in this face mask will be constant tests and improvements to maintain comfort, and the most important, to keep our health safe.
As my teammate Isaí Saucedo says the advantages, we have here one of the designs. Also, we use this logo, which is For You mask, on the left side. That helps to communicate and have better breathing than other face masks. And one of the issues of different face masks is that some other face mask sticks to your mouth and doesn't let you communicate, doesn't let you breathe, and it's not comfortable. For You mask offers that. For You mask offers that. It has better communication. It is breathable, comfortable, and it can be small size. It can be size of small, medium, and large. What are the marketing, sales, and competitive landscape? For You mask, it offers a price of $10 with 100% cotton, which is this black cotton here. Also, it has no maintenance. As my teammate Isaí Saucedo says, it can be washable. Before cutting the material, we put the 100% cotton into the washer machine, and then the dryer machine, so it can shrink, and then we can start cutting the fabric so it doesn't shrink. So it has no maintenance. You can wash it as many times, it won't shrink. The revenue model, we estimate the first year revenue. For You mask will be estimating the revenue by basing on maximum number of face masks that it can produce. We have the prototype. Once it's designed, like he says, it's going to be tested and defined, and we will make a production of 1,000 copies to start the business. For You mask will be sold for adults between the age 30 and 75 years old and any gender. For You mask will have solid colors and the will sizes. Also, the commercialization of our product will be we will call out the following way. It's going to be online or business chains. So as I put my table here, the price of the product is $10. We expect to sell 1,000, and so for the first year, we're trying to get $10,000, and each material cost is $5 with 23 cents. So my estimate revenue will be $4,770. This is For You mask. Thank you so much.
Such a useful innovation. Thank you for sharing with us today. I do have one question from the judges.
All right, we're happy to answer.
Thank you. What would you say has been the biggest evolution made from your original design?
The biggest evolution of original design is the face bracket that helps us to breathe, which is this one. This face bracket, it goes into the packet that my teammate will explain.
Inside this little pocket. The most of the face mask brackets goes from the outside, but not all of them they can't attach to the face mask. They just go in on your mask. but that cause infections on your face. So this face mask bracket can go inside of the little pocket and stay in there and make it better to talk louder and breathe better without the leather sticking to your mouth.
And also, one of the materials that makes easier of the evolution of this For You mask is that we use 100% non-woven polypropylene that goes between the two layers. We use 2 layers of cotton fabric and 1 layer of polypropylene filter that goes into the face mask. And the thing that helps to breathe and have better communication is the polypropylene filter with the face bracket that it goes into the filter pocket.
Great. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All of the teams presenting today have made incredible progress and are each taking the difficult journey of developing their idea while managing a class schedule. Putting these pitches together is something to celebrate. Now we are going to take a 15-minute break, and we hope to see you back here for the second half of our programming. Welcome back to the second half of presentations and interviews for the 2021 InventOR Oregon Finals. I want to take a moment to share with anyone who's just tuning in how the judges are evaluating each team's project. Our panel of judges is scoring using 4 categories. Prototype. Is the prototype innovative? Is the prototype skillfully constructed? And is the prototype functioning? Pitch. Ability to present the problem, solution, and the market or business opportunity in their pitch. Progress. Progress the team has made since beginning the competition. Did teams accomplish the stated goals? Impact. Does the team's prototype or solution have a substantial and scalable positive environmental and/or social impact? The judges will be looking at their progress via prototype, pitch, business model, and impact. I also want to remind everyone to visit our People's Choice voting site. The ballot will be available at the URL on this screen for 5 minutes after all teams have completed their presentations. Once you reach the Slido site, enter participation code 654722. The People's Choice winning team will be awarded $1,500. We will get started again with Automatic Egg Cracker from Oregon State University. They are engineering a device to aid end users with mobility issues in the kitchen. Their engineering is moving the success rate to 100%, ensuring that users can rely on this device to work effectively and simply. Please welcome Automatic Egg Cracker. Thank you all for your patience. We're having some technical difficulties, and we hope to return to Automatic Egg Cracker shortly. In the meantime, we are about to hear from Gener8, representing Portland State University. Gener8 is working hard to bring scalable ethanol-based generators to market. Their motivation is to bridge the gap between efficient power resources while also understanding that massive storage requirements often limit accessibility. Please welcome Gener8.
Hello, we are Gener8, and we're really excited to talk to you today to introduce our team, my teammate Jacob Brower. We're ethanol fuel cell, which is shown on the screen, is a rendering of our fuel cell.
Climate change is here, and it's real, as everyone saw it firsthand living on the West Coast last summer. This, coupled with the antiquated internal combustion engine for a method to power cars, provides what we believe is a necessary update to fueling cars in the United States. There are current issues with renewable sources of power, like when the sun doesn't shine, there is no solar power. Baseload power is a main reason why we have stuck with fossil fuels for so long. However, we are developing a fuel cell system that is the only renewable energy source that can provide this baseload power to phase out the dependence on fossil fuels, which is the perfect energy source to power semi-trucks for long-haul trucking.
We provide an algae-to-power solution for our customers. We have an energy solution that is not limited by the carbon efficiency limit, which is 37% for internal combustion engines, and it's 99% for our fuel cell. The technology is so good that it could go into any gas-powered car. We will talk about our target market soon. Fuel cells are tried and tested. NASA has used and developed fuel cells for more than half a century. Here are two images of our test platform and prototype, loaded with a reference catalyst stack. On the right, we have the standard fuel cell test stack used by labs all around the world. On the left is the final product, a carbon-based, platinum-free catalyst. When this black solid is mixed with the neighboring fluid, energy is produced. This size system produces 4.3 volts just by flowing ethanol through it, using only the reference electrode. Our electrode already shows superior surface area and reactivity and is more efficient than any other system on the market. The future of fuel cells is a fuel cell that uses only common materials. The biggest obstacle in this is getting a non-platinum catalyst. We are already far into the development of a reduced platinum catalyst, and the next generation catalyst we are going to use is pure boron nitride. Simulations have shown that this can actually match the efficiency of pure platinum while only using common materials.
So on the financial side, it only takes an estimated $10,500 to get one of our fuel cells into a customer's hands, and we project to sell them at $20,000. Toyota manufactures their fuel cell product for $30,000, where ours only costs $10,000 to manufacture. Our fuel cell costs only a third of what Toyota's fuel cell costs Toyota to manufacture. We have this competitive advantage in part because of the innovative chemistry that we have been developing that enables us to use low-cost chemicals and reduce the toxicity and rarity of the chemicals that we need to produce our fuel cell with. We did our market research to understand how many potential customers were in these potential areas. And we found these numbers by multiplying how many potential customers we have against the total cost that for the fuel cell per possible customer. In the next 5 years, accelerated by the progress towards clean energy, the semi-truck market in the United States, Brazil, and Germany will reach over $125 billion. We are extremely well situated to replace huge segments of this market, because our system can replace diesel and electric trucks with the help of getting this convenient liquid fuel, ethanol, that is more efficient than batteries or internal combustion engines into this market. And because ethanol is far easier to store than gaseous fuels like hydrogen, it makes our process easier to implement than hydrogen fuel cells. And in addition, our system is much safer and much less flammable than gasoline, other biofuels, and lithium polymer batteries. We have progressed a lot since the semifinal selection round. We acquired and modified a standard pyrolysis furnace, the last step in our chemical process. This was completing the production of our catalyst, which previous work has shown is far more efficient than existing catalysts. We just finished up our heat press system, and after we heat press our catalyst into its polymer membrane carrier, we'll be able to test what we create in our fuel cell stack against the existing platinum black catalyst.
We're excited to show our product off to potential customers soon, and hopefully get some useful feedback into how we can make our system work better for them.
I'm really excited to introduce our whole team. Over half of us are current PSU students, and we're very lucky to have a PhD student from RPI in upstate New York on our team, as well as Nolan Yap, who's a Kansas State business graduate. Thank you so much. That's our time. I'll take any questions now.
Thank you, Gener8. Alternative sources of energy that are environmentally friendly are needed for our future. Great presentation. We have a couple questions from the judges. There are a lot of components that need to be fabricated in order for Gener8 to go to market. What parts of the manufacturing can be outsourced?
I mean, we could outsource all of them, but the key like trade secret stuff was what stuff that we wouldn't outsource, which is what we're currently doing in-house. But really just like the most, like 90% of the cost of a fuel cell is like the catalyst and the polymer membrane system, and that's what we've manufactured. So everything else is really standard out of the box stuff that you can just, you can buy off the shelf, and we've been able to buy, buy stuff off the shelf. And all that stuff can easily be outsourced if needed.
Okay, great, thank you. What testing needs to be done to validate that the Gener8 non-platinum solution is more efficient than existing technology?
Oh, we have like a syringe pump system we've built already. That's like it runs on G code. So the G code goes in and it tells the syringe pump to go to a certain level, and it's doing a certain flow rate. And then there are academic papers that we're matching our flow rates up with energy output with. So then it's energy output over time, because over time the fuel will get used up and the catalyst will get used up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, Gener8.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to go ahead and get back to Automatic Egg Cracker from Oregon State University. As a quick reminder, the Automatic Egg Cracker project is a device to aid end user with mobility issues in the kitchen. We are working to get a product up to a 100% success rate so that users can rely on this device to consistently and effectively work in the kitchen. So give us just a moment and let's welcome Automatic Egg Cracker.
Hello. Cracking an egg is often viewed as a simple task, but for most people it requires both hands, most fingers, and controlled wrist motion. To the millions of Americans living with arthritis, as well as those living with disabilities, cracking an egg can be a daily challenge. We're here with an appliance to make this easier. I'm Kyle O'Reilly.
And I'm Elizabeth Wade, and we're both engineering students at Oregon State University, and we're here with the Automatic Egg Cracker.
When I was working as an emergency medical technician, I met a woman who had loved to bake for her entire life. And she had only just discovered that she was no longer able to crack an egg due to the progression of her arthritis. She was devastated, and she inspired me to look into this problem further.
For our market research, we started by talking to people we know who struggle with cracking eggs, and then we built a survey to which 100 people responded. From this research, we determined that the top difficulties while cracking an egg are overall accessibility due to hand dexterity struggles, egg getting on your hand, shell falling into the bowl, and finally the time it takes to accomplish the task. For our solution, we'd like to show you a quick video of the Automatic Egg Cracker, which can crack an egg with the touch of a button.
The device will crack the egg, dispose of the shell, and then be ready to load the next egg all on its own.
Keeping in mind the 4 main requests for an egg cracking device, we looked at our competitors on the market. The first competitor, the Easy Cracker, does not make any of these basic improvements on cracking an egg. It requires grasping, it requires loading and removing the shell by hand, and it even adds time to the process. The next top competitor also does not meet any of these criteria, and it often ends up puncturing the egg, as you can see in the photo, rather than cracking it. Unlike our competitors, our product, the Automatic Egg Cracker, meets all ADA guidelines. It doesn't require that you get egg on your hands, no shell falls into the bowl, and it saves you time in the kitchen. On the market right now, all of the egg crackers are manual, which is the main reason they can't meet our improvements. Our device would be the only electric egg cracking device on the market at this scale, as all other electric versions are on the industrial scale.
At the start of the competition, our product was little more than a poorly realized idea. Our goals for the competition were to have a near-perfect success rate, to create and complete the electronics for our system, to make the device easy to clean, and to have an egg queuing system. Overall, we were able to achieve a 90% success rate, and we did complete our other 3 goals. The funding provided by InventOR allowed us to purchase the raw materials, electronic components, and tools necessary to successfully improve our product, as can be seen here in this small portion of the 56 iterations we have created over the last 2 months. Our current cost of materials is $13. This will put us at a potential retail price of between $40 and $50 initially. This is on par with other kitchen appliances of this size. Our initial business model will be direct to consumer. We will try to get customers by targeting online Facebook groups and message boards pertaining to arthritis and disabilities. We will also target cooking blogs and other cooking-related websites. Seeing success there, we will try to grow into a business-to-business model by exploring wholesale partnerships with stores like Fred Meyer or Bed Bath & Beyond.
Considering the market potential of our product, we've determined our customer base to be first, those with medical conditions causing them difficulties in the kitchen, second, the food service industry, and finally, parents and other people on the move. The current kitchen appliance market generates about $200 billion annually. As there are no other devices on the market that can electrically crack eggs at this scale, the automatic egg cracker can have a comfortable position in this growing market.
The things that set our product apart are its success rate, the time it saves, not needing to get raw egg on your hands, as well as the increased accessibility in the kitchen. Thanks to InventOR, we've been able to vastly improve our design, and we are now closer to helping people reclaim independence in the kitchen. Thank you.
Thank you. Many times we take for granted day-to-day activities, and seeing your solution to aid individuals with mobility issues is a great reminder to look around us to solve problems that impact people's lives. We have some questions from the judges. Could you talk more in detail about your target audience, who that is, and how you plan to reach them?
Yes, our target audience is specifically those with arthritis as well as those living with disabilities. That was the initial driving force behind our product. We want to help them. However, in our market research in the creation of this product over the last 2 months, we have also discovered there is more potential markets out there, such as the food service industry, as well as parents or other people on the move. We will try to reach them through building trust through these online communities. We'll try and get into the communities, not by flooding them with advertisement, but trying to get in there and have discussions with them. Another possibility we explored is discussing our product with influencers out there, as it is a digital world and social media is tied to almost everything now. We've discovered there are some specific social media influencers out there in the arthritis or disabilities communities, and we will try to build trust with our consumers with them.
Okay. Now, and our last question, will the egg cracker have more attachments that could be used to perform other activities in the kitchen?
Yes, so we've already begun development on a egg yolk separator, as we understand that baking it sometimes requires just whites as opposed to yolks. So we're working on that, and we also have been considering the potential of working with something in the future to scramble eggs as well.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Next up, in celebration of the 5th year of InventOR, Juan Barraza from PSU's Center for Entrepreneurship is joining us to share more about what the last 5 years of competition has achieved for innovation in Oregon.
InventOR started 5 years ago, asking Oregon College innovators 2 basic questions. What can you build in 90 days with only $2,500? During our first year, we started with a partnership with 5 Oregon colleges and universities and 10 student teams. Fast forward to today, InventOR is made possible through a collaboration with 19 Oregon colleges and universities. 89 teams have participated in the program, and we have awarded over $350,000 in prototyping grants and prizes. While InventOR wasn't set up to create fully formed ventures, we have seen students take what they started in the program and keep running, filing for patents and launching products, sometimes while they're still in school. InventOR alumni has filed for 4 patents and launched 7 companies. Every day on any Oregon campus, you can find students with an idea that has the potential to change the world. They're trying to figure out how to build it and how to take it to market, but their possibility of success depends on factors they might not be even thinking about. How to build a team, build a prototype, and navigate the pathway to commercialization, and finding access to resources. Every year, we invite Oregon College students to take what they learn in the classroom and apply it in a real-world setting, with mentors and peer-to-peer learning from other students across the state. Students participating in InventOR, they're coming from a wide array of backgrounds and majors, so we include training aiming at leveling the playing field for them. During the last couple months, they have learned and put into practice design thinking, sustainable invention principles, business modeling, intellectual property protection, and commercialization. This year, student teams have prevailed and accomplished so much despite dealing with the current pandemic. They have learned how to collaborate remotely across multiple states and continents. They have figured out how to manufacture and test their prototypes without access to the traditional labs, maker spaces, and tools, and they have converted the garages and living room into their own work studios. Our goal has always been to make sure that students everywhere are empowered to see themselves as inventors, and we cannot wait to meet the next generation of Oregon College innovators that will answer the call for next year Invent Oregon.
Thank you, Juan, and congratulations on 5 years. Representing George Fox University next, we are going to hear from Microsustainability. This team is working on a solution to make composting more accessible. They are tackling issues of providing a composting solution for those living in apartments or who have limits in outdoor spaces, keeping food waste out of landfills and giving a new segment of users the ability to make nutrient-rich soil. Please welcome Microsustainability.
Hello, my name is Ethan, and I'm here to represent Greens and Browns Composting, along with my team members, Malachi, Sydney, Brendan, Caleb, and Christian. We are a collective of engineering students from George Fox University in Newberg, Oregon, passionate about using our skills to make the world a better place.
1/3 of landfills are comprised of organic waste that can be composted. This incorrect disposal creates methane gas, which is a stronger greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide. Even individuals can compost this organic waste to reduce the greenhouse gases emitted into the air and create valuable nutrient-rich soil. You might be wondering, why aren't there more people composting if it provides these benefits? Through market research, we found that more people are deterred by the odor and space and time requirements of composting. This is why we bring you the Greens and Browns composter, designed for people without yard space or free time.
When people hear microsustainability, they might think microscopic environments or small organisms, but it's much simpler than that. Microsustainability is small environmental actions that result in a large environmental impact. People think it takes big organizations, but it starts with the individual.
Composting is on the rise. According to research reported by Globe Newswire, the composting market is projected to grow 6.8% between 2019 and 2024, putting it at $9.2 billion. We believe that as awareness of the benefits of composting rises, people living in urban contexts will be looking for convenient alternatives to traditional methods. A report by PR Newswire supports this, stating, in 2018, only 4.1% of food waste was composted due to the long and space-needy process. If more people had access to a simple-to-use and space-friendly composter, those numbers would soar to new heights and greatly reduce the amount of food waste thrown away and in turn reduce the size of landfills.
Our team has designed a composter that will be able to gain a significant portion of the projected market share through several unique advantages. When compared to the standard composting process, our design is easier to use and maintain while creating a nutrient-rich compost in less than half the time. It's less intrusive as well, allowing for families in urban environments to compost when they otherwise wouldn't be able to. With its strong durability and easy-to-clean chamber, it's also lower maintenance than other smart composters. These advantages give our design a unique edge and increase its viability in the market.
Starting at the top, our simple-to-use interface will incorporate a joystick and an LCD screen to display information about the composter. It will display information like moisture levels, internal temperature, current cycle, and time to completion. Next to the display is the mailbox-style opening to allow for food scraps to be deposited into the composter, as well as reduce the amount of odor that can escape. The food then falls into the shredder where it is broken down into easily compostable pieces. Also incorporated in the composter are heating and mixing elements. Periodically throughout the process, the mixing elements will stir the compost, allowing air to mix with the food to further speed up the process. Finally, temperature sensors are located in the mixing bowl to monitor the internal temperature of the compost and keep it optimal.
The Greens and Browns composter has a shredder and a mixer in addition to a heater, which aids in speeding up the natural composting process. This is why the Greens and Browns composter will produce superior nutrient-rich soil. The food cycler and Lomi act more like dehydrators, which actually compromise a lot of valuable nutrients. The Kalia composter costs over 3 times the price of the Greens and Browns composter. The food cycler and Lomi are very compact, but have nowhere to put your food waste while it's running. The greens and browns composter has a hopper above the shredder that allows the user to add scraps while it is processing.
The estimated cost to build will be around $192, which includes the shredder, heating, electronic, and housing assemblies. To maximize profit, the estimated price would be around $350 to generate around $157 in revenue. Creating a plastic injection mold for the body would greatly reduce cost and increase the production time of each unit. Based on our research, the cost per body would be around $3. Early on, the revenue would be invested towards creating the mold, along with advertisements, research, and development. This product would target those interested in composting through advertising by advertising to those who shop at garden centers, follow nature's accounts on social media, students, adults, and more. A website would be dedicated to showcasing the product, selling replacement parts, and offering a variety of different composting supplies from pH balancing additives to cardboard.
Over the last few weeks, and with the help of the InventOR funding, our team developed a functional prototype that demonstrates our vision for the greens and browns composter. And next steps are to consider the efficiency and manufacturability of our design, and to specifically enhance the user interface. To the everyday person who wants a hand in the cleaning up of our landfills and the reduction of unnecessary waste, the GMB composter is the only product on the market that shreds, stirs, and heats your compost to make the experience as easy as dump and forget. Now you can have a significant impact on our environment.
This is wonderful. Your hard work and dedication shows. We have a couple questions for the team from the judges. What are some of the safety and maintenance processes you've worked through?
One of the biggest safety issues, of course, is the shredder at the top. We've worked through that a lot, mostly through the delivery system into the shredder. Our first iteration involved the hopper assembly that dropped open after the lid was closed, so your hand can't reach in. But our current prototype would also incorporate limit switches that will electronically disable the shredder, as well as a potentially an alternative loading system that will provide safety.
Yeah, and adding on to that also, specifically when we've been designing these components, the heater and the shredder, we've been designing them so that they're isolated from where the user is actually going to be interacting with the product. So.
Okay. How do you plan to market your product?
We're going to start off by marketing our product just direct to consumer through a website to get the awareness out there. And then as we make progress forwards, we're going to put more effort into advertisement, and then also, eventually, communicating with other businesses and trying to do a business to business as well. So.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks.
Great. Next, we are going to hear from our keynote speaker, Lisa Gelobter. She is the CEO and founder of Techquitable and has served as Chief Digital Service Officer for the United States Department of Education during the presidency of Barack Obama. Her work continues to use technology to make workplaces more equitable. Techquitable provides an independent, confidential platform to address issues of bias and discrimination. Lisa will be joined after a short address by Kara Miller, the host and executive editor of Innovation Hub, for a Q&A. Welcome, Lisa Gelobter.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm really, really excited to be here, and I love the concept of this program, and so I'm super excited to be able to participate with you all and engage. So they've asked me to speak a little bit about my journey to entrepreneurship. So I'm just going to start at the very beginning. So for starters, I'm a Black woman with a degree in computer science, which unfortunately makes me somewhat of a unicorn, which makes me cry pretty much every day. And my background is, I come from a low-income background. So I'm a Pell Grant recipient. While I do have a bachelor's in computer science, it actually took me 24 years to graduate from college. So I got there, but it was a circuitous route, because it turns out, right, when you work full-time to put yourself through school, work 40 hours a week, it turns out college is hard. So I got there at the end, but it is not the traditional journey. One thing that's really important for me that I like to talk about is just kind of the economic impact and the difference that kind of studying computer science and being in the technology field can make a difference. So when I left school, even without a college degree, I was making 2 times what both of my parents made combined, right? And so that's right. That's how you start to kind of make a shift in terms of generational wealth and economic impact. So I've been in tech for, oh my goodness, over 30 years. And the truth is, I say that if it exists in tech, I've done it. So I've been in technical support. I've managed technical support. I've done QA, quality assurance. I've managed QA. I've done program management, product management. I've been a software engineer. I've managed engineering. I've managed product development. And then I've served in various roles as acting CTO, acting CEO, and now I'm a CEO. So I really have done it all, done a lot. And I've learned from every single one of those roles, every single one of those organizations and in the journey. And I apply it all today in my new role. So look, I've been fortunate enough to work on some pretty transformative technologies. I was a software engineer in the 90s on something called Shockwave, which really introduced interactivity, multimedia animation to the web, kind of changed the way people consumed the web, changed the face of the web. And really, I think of it as having set the foundation for today's modern web. I've really been at the intersection kind of media and technology since its inception. I was on the launch team for Hulu. I helped to launch Hulu, which again changed the way people consumed media in terms of the digital space. And look, my code, my products have gone out to billions of people, literally, a few different times. I also ran digital at BET, Black Entertainment Television, right? The television network, Viacom, sister company of MTV, VH1. And just the opportunity to really be creative in a creative space, in a content space, but also kind of grounded in technology and founded in digital work. So, and then I got a call from the White House. So I served at the White House under President Obama, and I was the Chief Digital Service Officer for the U.S. Department of Education. And for me, that was really where I had my aha moment, where we really could harness technology to solve what had been previously thought of as intractable problems, right? How do you make systemic level change? How do you make societal level change? So I worked on a project while I was there called College Scorecard, which the intent was really, right, President Obama's point was, there's all these kind of ranking systems out there around colleges that are based on things that don't necessarily matter, right? So things like how much money your alumni may have donated, or how many new buildings there are, as opposed to looking at success metrics of access, affordability, outcomes, right? You should look at the graduation rates of a school, right? Because if the graduation rate is 15%, you should not go there. You should look at how much you'll earn after you leave school and whether that will be enough to be able to pay off the loans that you might have taken out to go there. So just kind of looking at some of that stuff. And so we reinvented that system and we created a thing called College Scorecard. And in just over 3 years, it has been credited with improving college graduation rates in the U.S. by 1.5 points. And that's the idea. That's the success story, right? How do you actually have significant impact at scale? And so for me, as I was leaving the administration, right, trying to decide what I wanted to be when I grew up, because it is a journey, let me tell you, I was like, look, if we can send a Tesla Roadster into outer space, right, this is not rocket science. We can use some of those same best practices, product development strategies right here on our home planet to solve some of the issues for the underserved, the underrepresented, and the underestimated. And so that's how Tequitable came to be. That's why I started Tequitable. So I founded a tech startup called Tequitable. We're using technology to make workplaces more equitable. So the way it works is, for example, if my boss, right, makes a sexist crack or tries to touch my hair, right, that's not the totality of who they are, right? I'm not trying to get them fired for that. I'm not going to go to HR because that feels like the nuclear option. But on the other hand, right, I would like the behaviors to stop. The flip side of it is if I feel like I'm being overtly discriminated against or harassed, right, then I want the company to take immediate action. And so what Tequitable tries to do is help the employee in either of those situations figure out what their next step should be and how we can move forward. And then simultaneously, oftentimes companies don't have a great sense for what's happening on the ground day to day in their culture. And so we try to provide data and insights back to them so that they can remedy them. And so what we've done is, right, our mission is to create work culture that works for everyone. And so we've created the sounding board where employees can come, get advice, explore their options, and figure out what their next step should be. And then while they're doing that, we gather data that we anonymize and aggregate, and we use that to identify systemic issues within an organization's culture. We create a report for the management team with actionable recommendations, right? So for us, it's really important that we work on both sides of the equation because we're trying to make this systemic change, right? We want to empower and support employees, but we are also trying to help companies identify and address issues before they escalate, right? Trying to create this virtuous cycle. Anyway, so that is what Tequitable does today. And that's kind of been my journey through tech, through media, through federal government, through service, to being to founding and being the CEO of Tequitable. The thing for me is, like, I know that I'm in the right place here and now because I love what I'm doing. It is very obvious to me that we are helping employees, that we're helping companies, that we're really helping people, and we're actually starting to see shifts and making change. Like, I can see the direct impact. And I know I'm also in the right space because for me, like the materials that I find myself reading that are really about like uplifting and engaging and continuing to build community and support underrepresented folks, like those are the things that I'd be reading anyway. And I get to do them in service of my business additionally. And so for me, that's one of the things that I really know. Not only am I doing good stuff, but I'm also inventing new things and really focused on the things that I'm interested in, where I can make change, and for the people that I want to make change for. So having picked my community, having picked my medium, that's what I'm doing. So I thought it might be really interesting to also just mention a few things that I think are really important takeaways around entrepreneurship as you think about creating your own products, your own startups, your own companies. And so there's three points that I thought I'd kind of call out specifically. The first is having a central focus on what is the problem you're trying to solve. Like, that is a question that I ask almost every single day, not just for our particular product and for our particular company, but for every single thing that comes up throughout the day. Let's actually make sure that we are focused on the thing, like focus on outcomes, not outputs, right? How do you actually make change, and why? Why are you trying to make change? What is the problem, right? It's not just what is your goal, what is your objective, but it's actually focus on the problem that exists today, that is a problem. Who is it a problem for? What are they doing in today to address that problem? Like, what would they do if your solution never existed? So kind of thinking about that. That's the main driver for me, is always focusing on what is the problem you're trying to solve. The second thing that I would emphasize is the idea of always being user-centered, user-first, user always. Like, it really is about walking a mile in somebody else's shoes. Even if you're thinking about what is the problem you're trying to solve, you want to do it from the user's perspective, right? Not from your perspective. This is what I think the problem is. No, it's about what problem are they having? How do they perceive it? How are they thinking about it? And so really making sure that you are engaging with and actively speaking with your potential customers, your potential users, who you're trying to serve, and not just kind of assuming that you know. So as part and parcel of that is the idea of getting out of the building. And so in this day and age, maybe it's over a video conference rather than kind of going in person. But the idea of living a minute or a moment in somebody else's shoes, standing behind them as they are experiencing what they're experiencing, looking at the shortcuts they use, looking at why, asking them why they do certain things. And again, the idea is you can actually do a lot of this kind of conversation, this research, without a lot of effort. I think people are always worried about like, oh my God, I have to talk to so many people. The answer is the research shows that you only need to talk to between 3 and 5 people, and that you are better served rather than talking to more people. Talk to 3 to 5 people, iterate, take what you learn from that, make change, and then talk to 3 to 5 more people, right? Because 3 to 5 people will get you 85% of the way there. And then you can iterate and learn and iterate and learn. And so it is actually one of our core company values it's not fail fast, it's learn fast. So we're always learning. Everything is an opportunity to like, all right, what can we do different? What can we do better? How do we actually learn from that going forward? And then the last thing that I would just say is, all those stories you hear about like quick wins, success stories, they were all 10 years in the making. None of them were overnight successes. You may have just heard about them overnight, but somebody put in the long hours of either research or trial and error or experience or background or learnings. Like nothing comes overnight like that. It is all about making the investment, making the energy, learning, trying again, trying a new thing, failing, like not failing, learning, and continuing down that journey. And so, I just also want to prepare you for that. When you are entrepreneurial, whether it's about a new product or a new company, there are a lot of ups and downs, and being able to kind of weather the highs and the lows, and know that it really is, you got to commit for the long term. I think that's the other thing that I really, I think it's important to remember, is that like, it's not something that's just going to turn around for you overnight or even within 1 year. Just it's a long play. And so you really want to make sure that you're working on something that you believe in, that you're invested in, that you'd actually want to do for 10 years. Because that's the thing that you should think about what it takes. So really, focus on the problem that you want to solve, focus on how it serves your user, and make sure it's something that you're really interested and committed to doing. So those are my 3 tips off the top. And I think now we're going to have a Q&A. Thank you.
Hi, Lisa. I'm Kara. Hi to everybody out there. It's great to see you, and it's great to be here celebrating such an important day, such a culmination of so much inventive work. So Lisa, if you're up for it, I've got a few questions for you. Ready?
Absolutely. Here we go.
Okay. One thing that really strikes me about your career is that you've done so many different things. You were just talking about it. And I've talked to so many people over time, even like when I was, in school, who felt like there was so much pressure when they were 21, 22, whatever it is, or getting out of college, getting out of graduate school, whatever, to figure out like, what is the thing they're going to do, because you don't want to make a wrong move. Can you just speak to that a little bit? Because like, it sounds like you can make a lot of moves.
Right. Yeah. It's funny. I was talking to somebody yesterday who's, I think, in her early 20s. And again, it's this pressure of like, oh my God, I have to decide what I want to be when I grow up. I'm still deciding what I want to be when I grow up, right? It is a journey. It is, you are deciding over and over and over again. And that's actually the thing that makes it really exciting. This kind of goes back to the thing that I was just talking about in the video, which is like, it is this cycle of learning and then, okay, making another decision and then trying it and then learning some more. And that actually applies to your career too, and your trajectory through it. And so like every job that I've taken, I've been like, all right, well, what am I going to get out of it? Meaning, what am I going to learn from it? How am I going to be a better person, a different person? Well, will I have more expertise in a certain area? Will I be more familiar with a particular industry? Will I know a customer better? And so for me, it really is, depending on what I've learned, then I figure out, well, what does that mean that I want to do next? Or what's the next thing for me to kind of to take on and to embrace? And so, yeah, especially in this day and age, right? People are, look, especially when you're in technology, for me, the idea of like changing your job every 18 months seems like 18 to like 2 years, 2.5 years. That seems kind of like a normal cadence, which means that you get to redecide and reinvent every single time. So Yeah, I just feel like it's a different model than what it used to be. Is like, all right, you got to decide, like coming out of college or coming out of high school, like what you're going to be when you grow up. And that's, I think it's always learning and iterating.
So I think for somebody who's like graduating now or graduating soon, the concern though is, oh, but whatever that first job is, that's the thing for the second job that I'm going to say I have experience in, right? And so my question to you is, as somebody who's done all sorts of different things, like you said, you've been acting CEO, CTO, different things. Did you make those different, were you able to shift around in the kind of thing you did because you were just there? Like, you were just hanging out and people were like, hey, you want to try this? Or, you know what I mean? How did you end up making those shifts? Because at the beginning, you only had experience in one thing and then only had experience in two things. How do you get experience in 8 things?
Yeah. So, so nothing just happens. I will say, right, what's that saying? I find the harder I work, the luckier I get. Yeah. And so, but yeah, I think that's right. So skills are transferable. What you have to really start thinking about is not just I did this thing for this customer at this company, but like, well, what skill did you bring or did you learn from that? And then so if you're a program manager for an animation product, right? How, like, those program management skills can be translated into sports or into television production or into federal government, right? That skill set, like, you've proved yourself, right? You've cut your teeth in a specific vertical or industry, but that doesn't mean that same skill can't actually be translated across different runs. And that's the beautiful thing, I think, around entrepreneurship and tech in general, is that those same skills can be applied in so many different arenas. And that's, yeah, it really just opens up opportunity for you.
When you look at data on people from underrepresented groups, women trying to make it in tech, in invention, in careers in STEM, they're much more likely to pursue those careers if they know somebody who seems kind of like them, who's done it. They have some sort of mentorship. I wonder if you can talk about that. Did you have that? To what degree did you have that experience, and to what degree do you see it existing now?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So I think the saying is, you can't be what you can't see. Yeah. And that's part of the reason why I try to show up and speak at events like this. Because coming up, I definitely did not see anybody who looked like me, who had my experience or my background. And just for the record, that's still true today. There's definitely kind of more Black folks in tech than there were when I was coming up. There's certainly more women engineers than when I was coming up. I will say the socioeconomic differences that I talked about, those still apply. It turns out that for me, I'm still frequently challenged because my experiences and my life experiences have been really different from some of my other peers. So no, I was pretty early in my field, right? It's not to say that there weren't female technologists ahead of me, because there absolutely were a ton of them. But I just happened to be on the cutting edge at the beginning of the field, of when the web actually started to take off from a consumer perspective. Right? I was just at the beginning of that switch. And so for me, I mean, like, we were inventing everything. And so no, I think I might have mentioned one of the reasons that I went to work at BET, right, is because I'd never had either a Black person or a woman anywhere in the chain above me. And so, but what I did have, so I didn't have mentors, right? That wasn't a thing for me. But what I did have was I had friends who believed in me more than I believed in myself, and who would constantly push me forward and encourage me and actually put me up for stuff that I never would have actually even thought about or applied for. And so there's different ways to approach all that stuff, right? Around finding communing, finding your people, finding people that you can talk to. For me, and again, depends on where you're physically located and who your community is. I had to build that community outside of the tech industry because those folks didn't exist in tech. And so, but that's okay, right? You can find those supporters, those people who will lift you up, those people who will sponsor you when you're not in the room, through all kinds of different mechanisms and channels. And so but in terms of the bigger picture, in terms of solving for, right, this whole you can't be what you can't see, is that, for me, I really am a big proponent and an advocate for making sure that as people think about diversifying the tech industry and entrepreneurship, that it's not just about the pipeline. It's not just about bringing in more junior folks who come from a more varied background, but also what does it mean internally to promote folks? How do you actually bring in senior leadership, right? Because I think the studies also show that the more diverse senior leadership you have, the more that diversity kind of goes all the way through the chain. And so I think that's the other thing that's really important, is making sure that once folks, so there's one, getting people educated and getting people in the door. I think then the other part that's really important to think about is inclusion, is actually making sure that folks internally are feeling comfortable, feeling welcomed, feeling like they belong, and also getting promoted. And then also making sure that at the most senior levels, whether it's the board level now, or just in your senior executives, just making sure that you have enough diversity so that people can see themselves reflected. And I mean, just to be clear, it's not just, right, it's not just a social good, oh, people need to see themselves reflected, but beyond that, right, all of the studies show that you make better product if you have more diverse voices. And then it also, the financial rewards, like all of the studies show that the bottom line makes a difference if you have more diversity. So it's not just altruistic, it's like across the board. No reason to not do it.
So as you were saying before, you're now involved in your current venture and thinking about like day-to-day culture in offices. How does that change? How has it been changing? And I wonder if you can step back for a minute, because it feels like this has been, in terms of employers talking about how they're going to change their day-to-day culture and do, diversity training. It's really been something people have talked about a lot, of course, in the last year. Is that real? Is that people speaking to themselves in an echo chamber? Is that a few people, but it's not really widespread? I mean, I just wonder if you can contextualize that, because it can be hard to know if things are really changing or it's just talk, or how to sort of fit it in.
Yeah, there certainly has been a lot of talk in the last year. Yeah. And I think that there is, we're actually, funnily enough, my company Tech was running a survey right now for employees to basically talk about how their expectations of their work environment and of their work cultures, have they changed or have they not in the last couple of years. But look, I also think, so there's been a lot of talk, especially in venture capital, people saying, oh, I'm happy to give advice. I'm happy to mentor people on it. And there's Tiffany Bell, who says, it's not about mentoring. It's not about advice. It's make the hire or send the wire. Like at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. Right. It's not about talk. It's about walking the walk. And so at the end of the day, it's not about mentorship. It's about getting hired. It's about getting that check. It's about getting the funding. It's about the execution. It's not just this theoretical talking about it. So I will say that I'm glad that things are at a higher level in terms of people's perception, people talking about stuff over the past year. I am incredibly sad that what it took to get us here, because again, 6 months before that, like, you didn't believe us that this stuff was happening. Anyway, so there's a frustration level there around what it took to get us here. I am glad that it's high in people's awareness level now. I'm glad that we are talking about it now, but it also really needs to move into execution and long-term systemic change, right? So actually the name of the survey is, are we in a moment or a movement, right? So how do you actually change it from this like point in time to long-term systemic change? And so that's what people need to focus on for sure.
And to what degree do you feel like the community around, you cited venture capital, like to what degree do you think that the community around invention, innovation, is it embracing this differently than other sectors of the economy? Is it not embracing it as much when you think about like, okay, bringing women, bringing underrepresented communities into this picture?
Yeah, I think tech's feet are being held to the fire. probably more than in more legacy organizations or legacy industries. I think there's something about, I mean, look, right, tech is like, I think the fastest growing industry contributing to the GDP in the country. And so there's a reason, but also tech companies perceive themselves as progressive, right? They have to be 15 steps ahead of the game because we're making the change. And so understanding that's I think part of the reason why they're leading in this. But I will say this change is happening across industries, right? So you may know that in California, if you are headquartered in California, there's actually now a requirement from the state that you have at least one woman on your board, right? If you're a publicly traded company with headquarters. And then VCs are also starting to do that. They're also starting to actually have requirements around who's on your board, who's on your leadership. And you look, at the end of the day, follow the money, right? Because that's the thing that's really going to make change. And so I think that's where you start to see the influence. And that's not to say that there's not a ton of other industries that are also not taking steps to make change. But I think tech in particular, they're being held to account in very public ways. That I think that's what's going to serve us in the long run.
It's interesting. One woman doesn't seem like that much, but it's interesting that's like a bar that you have to get over.
Yeah, it's tough. And I know like some VCs are saying you have to have, some percentage of underrepresented folks, whether those are from different races, ethnicities, from different sexual orientations, from different gender identities. So yeah, I think different people are coming at it from different ways, but I think at the end of the day, it's all about follow the money.
A final question here. I'm going to just stay focused on this idea of invention. You talked about making sure you know what the problem is you're trying to solve. Like, ask yourself, what is this thing? What am I trying to accomplish here? From small to large, you don't have to pick fixing poverty in the world or anything. But what are some really interesting problems that you see out there, either that you've heard bits of solutions to or that you're kind of waiting for? Just things out there that you think this is a really interesting problem that is waiting to be solved. I know I hit you there with just an unexpected, just solve the problems in the world, but you can do it.
Well, but I think, to me, I'm not sure I have the best answer to this, because the things that I'm invested in, the things that I care about are human beings, are people problems. And so, you mentioned it'd be great if we could solve folks who are homeless, right? Like issues around homelessness, issues around disparities in income, around the wealth gap in the United States, around education, around the digital divide, around there's. The other thing that has come out of this past year is the pandemic and how it has had disproportionate effects on different kinds of communities. And what does that mean in terms of who lost a year? How do they actually come back from that? How do you, it just kind of really shined, put a spotlight on different, the effects that it had on different communities. And so for me, that's the stuff that I'm super invested in. That's the stuff that I not just do in my work, but I also do in my spare time. And so as I think about the biggest problems to solve, to me, those are them. So you may have been asking about you want me to talk about space travel, but for me, I actually am invested in.
But I was going to say that's okay, actually, because there are real invention pieces to the question of how do you make healthcare more evenly distributed, or housing, or education, or what. These are all. I just think of somebody like Sal Khan, trying to deal with some of these questions about education, but there are sort of multi-layers to all these problems, and being inventive, thinking about inventive solutions seems like a big part of it, in fact, right?
Yeah. I just think, and this goes back to my time at the White House, this is really being able to apply some of these best practices, some of these concepts, some of these frameworks, how you do decision making, how you do user-centered government, user-centered policy, and applying it to to issues that matter to our communities, to our population. To me, that's where we're going to start to be able to make real change, and that's where I would like to see folks invest time and energy and effort and money.
A good note to end on. Lisa, thank you so much for the keynote, for sitting down, for doing the Q&A. This was great and wide-ranging. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you all for having me.
Bye.
That was inspiring. We are so thankful that Lisa and Kara were able to be with us today. They are both working hard to ensure the voices of all innovators are heard and create opportunities for anyone to take their idea to the next level. We're going to hear next from rePLA, a team representing University of Portland. Their prototype is hoping to revolutionize the availability of biodegradable filament used in 3D printing. Rapid prototyping techniques are moving innovation forward at a pace like we have never seen. An unfortunate byproduct of 3D printing during this process is creating large amounts of plastic waste that can take centuries to break down. Please welcome rePLA.
Okay, a new revolution is approaching that we need to be prepared for. Hi, I'm Rachel Hu, and I would love to talk to you guys about it. But first, let's take a look back at some past revolutions. So in 1733, the Industrial Revolution happened, where we changed our lives with the mass production of manufactured goods. Then fast forward to 1980, the digital age is upon us with widespread technology and an ease of communication through it. Now, here in 2021, the new revolution is the 3D printing revolution. This revolution enables us to make digital files into tangible, three-dimensional objects. This technology is being used across all industries, and its growing popularity has made it more accessible now than ever. However, according to activist Henry Rollins, with any advent in technology, there is the good and then there's the bad. So what are the bad for these three revolutions? The answer is pollution. Oh, I'm sorry. Went too far. There, yeah, the answer is pollution. So the Industrial Revolution brought toxic waste and water pollution. The digital era brought obsolete versions of devices that leak toxic waste, and now mountains of plastic waste from 3D printing. For instance, in 2020 alone, over 17 million pounds of waste was added into the landfills from just 3D printing. This is equivalent to 680 school buses. This trash is mostly attributed to test parts, support structures, and parts that just didn't make the cut. 2019 survey, most people said that up to 20% of their projects is made out of waste. So what can we do to reduce this waste? The answer is simple. The answer is our product. rePLA is an all-natural 3D printing filament where one of the main ingredients, algae, is sourced from Klamath Falls here in Oregon, where it is invasive to the local ecosystem. rePLA is made specifically to facilitate prototyping in the innovation process, promoting creativity, by limiting waste because of its ability to completely home compost in 24 days and can even dissolve in water after a few days as well. So the question might be, why haven't other people looked into this problem if it's such a huge one? The answer is that they have. Many players in the 3D printing industry have tried to solve it. One of the more popular 3D printing filaments is polylactic acid, also known as PLA, and it's marketed as biodegradable. However, PLA takes 102,000 years to degrade naturally in the landfill, so that's going to outlast me and my children. So many other companies have tried to make PLA more sustainable, such as Non-Oilen, who've tried to add PHB to PLA, but that it still takes a very long time to break down. And then other companies have kind of just repackaged PLA, like Polyterra. So if other companies can't solve this problem, what can rePLA do to stop this accumulation of wealth? The answer lies within a fundamental flaw in the innovation process itself, the systematic creation of waste for prototyping. If the final product is just not up to bat, then the person repeatedly prints and prints until it's completely perfect. This printing is great for the 3D printing industry, which is expected to grow to $44.5 billion US dollars in 2026. However, that also means that 20% of every filament sold will just end up in the landfill. This is where rePLA comes in. It targets the waste cycle by addressing the material in the creation process rather than just waiting for it to accumulate. Our plan to make rePLA a reality is simple as well. We would like to finish prototyping our product to make it as perfect as we can. Then we're going to patent it. And once we have our intellectual property solidified, we will go and take it to a 3D printing filament company who manufactures it, specifically ones that have done other bioplastics as well. With this company's access to larger resources and machinery, they will sell it, they will mass produce it while we receive 5% of the total profits as royalties. Some of that money will be going into a consortium dedicated to bringing a sustainable future for 3D printing. Now, this amazing product would not be possible without my other teammates, Evangeline Mignano, Brittany Young, and Melissa Tran, who made the material into what it is today. And of course, my business partner, Addie Zhao. We all just started this project as just 5 University of Portland students. Now we made an amazing innovation together. Also, a big thank you to all of our mentors, especially Salvador Arara and Kay Multikin. rePLA was born out of a passing thought of wanting less 3D printing waste, and now it is an innovation revolution. Thank you.
Thank you, rePLA. It's wonderful to see a completely new take on a material that is used across so many industries, and that can be so useful as rapid prototyping grows. Let's take a quick question from the judges. What factors that went into your decision to focus on developing this material as a 3D printing filament versus as a replacement for other types of plastic or other plastics?
Yeah, hi. So I actually, as a mechanical engineer, this year I really wanted to get a 3D printer. And while I was looking into getting a 3D printer, I realized how much waste it produced. And that kind of became our inspiration of creating bioplastic for 3D printing. We are definitely looking into creating, just looking at the plastic itself and incorporating that into other products. But right now we are currently focusing specifically on our initial inspiration.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us today, Team rePLA. Coming up next, we will hear from Boundless Motion, a team representing Warner Pacific University. They are tackling issues of plastic waste and access to footwear in underdeveloped countries. By combining different recycled materials and elements that can be 3D printed, they hope to not only make a comfortable athletic shoe, but also to create a process that can be set up in almost anywhere. Please welcome Boundless Motion.
Good afternoon. My name is Yvonne Kate, a junior at Warner Pacific University, and the name of my company is Boundless Motion. Let us motivate and let's begin. You see, the story behind my company started way back when I was a child. I was born in a small village where I was only known by the name that I was given, and that's Yvonne Kumu Kumla Kate. And it wasn't until I moved to the United States where I've noticed the differences in abundance of resources between my home and the US. And ever since, I always wanted to create this bridge of resource, but I truly didn't know where to begin. But one thing that I really got into falling in love with was shoes. So then I thought to myself, why not start there? But not just any type of shoes. See, I want to be part of the fight against climate change and plastic pollution. Because as of now, there are 20 billion pair of shoes produced annually, and roughly 300 million pair end up in landfill and sea after they have been worn. And those numbers does not sit tight with me. You see, bigger companies like Nike and Adidas every single year find new material to implement within their shoes. And those materials usually end up being highly toxic and non-recyclable. Material like EVA foam, which is in most shoes produced annually, is highly toxic and always leave a bad print behind. You see, experts are saying that in 30 years, there'll be more plastic in the ocean than fishes. And that's exactly where my company comes in. See, I want to create a brand where every single material is fully recyclable and fully reusable to bring a positive impact into the fashion industry, revolutionize athletic wear, and just bring in a whole new way of making shoes by utilizing 3D technology. See, with 3D technology, what was once a plastic waste can then be turned into something beautiful and fashionable like the shoes I've created. You see, over the course of a month, this was my product development. What was an idea in my head became a drawing on paper. Had to fail many times along the way, learned different apps like Rhino Fusion 360 over the course of a month. As of today, I am proud to present the very first BMs, the very first Boundless Motion I'm holding in my hand. As you can see, the shoes is truly unique. It has two different soles. The very first sole is for more of those high pressure area. So I made sure to implement more cellular material down there. The second sole covers your toes and your heels so that it does make you feel like you're walking on air. You see, to get close to EVA type of material without actually using EVA, I utilize what's called a lightweight technology. A technology that ensures that every step you take is comfortable, and that's why the sole looks so unique. You see, traditional shoes that are produced annually has a lot of springiness but loses on that stability. With my 3D printer sole, you still have that springiness, but it's giving you a new dynamic stability. And right here, if the shoe were to hit market as of now, it would be at $122. Why? I break the cost down 6 different elements: filament, electricity, printer depreciation, preparation, post-processing, and other consumable. The shoe will cost me $78 to make, but to put it into market, it will have to be at $122. You see, most think filaments is the most expensive part, but due to the hard time and then learning all this fancy app, Fusion 360 CAD, the shoe will have to be in market for $122. Right now, my business model is, yes, we are fully sustainable. Customer feedback is truly important to us so we can create that one-on-one relationship. Educate. 3D printing the shoes is something new. I'd love to touch more base on it, and this way we can attract older audiences. Printing by the order. You order, we start printing, we leave no waste behind. Everything that we do circle back to phase 1. Since it's fully recyclable, whenever you are done, you can always send it back. We'll give you a 20% discount and off you go with the new pair. And creating job opportunity. This is to target young individuals in the juvenile detention center. There are creativity that is being dormanted. Right now, my target audience is age range from 18 to 36. Thanks to social media marketing, I was really able to narrow this number down and find out what they truly value. You see, they value something stylish with something different. They value friendship and community as well as brand loyalty. And that's exactly what we bring here at Boundless Motion. Along the way, I had some strategic partnership as well, like Portland Parks and Recreation. They have been there for me ever since I moved to the US. And I can attract socialists and environmentalists. A 3D printing technology that 3D printing, a 3D printing company that 3D print drones. Ben Berry and Daniel Ferguson has been wonderful to me. My very own campus, Warner Pacific University, as well as Proto Pasta, where I source my sustainable filaments from. And with the use of the fund, I went straight into secure my very own 3D printer, research on how to make the shoe sustainable yet comfortable, web designing, marketing, and sourcing material over at Proto Pasta. Now, just over a month, what was an idea in my hand now is a product in my hand. Now, just imagine what I can do in 5 months or 10 months. Everybody's very fiending for their very own BM, so I asked my friends why keep them waiting. I truly believe I can fulfill everybody's wishes by December of 2023. In the meantime, I have a Kickstarter that's coming out by September, making sure that I'm giving the people what they want while they're waiting for the big Holy Grail. And that's the end of this presentation. Boundless Motion isn't just about shoes, fashion, or sustainability. It's about creating that bridge of resource. My name is Yvonne Kate, and I am that revolution. Thank you.
Thank you. That was wonderful. We can't wait to see all the ways you expand on this system. I'd like to take a moment and share a question from our judges. By using your print-on-demand model, what are some of the additional area and features you hope to add to your products and designs?
Yes, thank you for that question. The print by the order model is specifically for leaving no waste behind. And with this, there will be a lot more customization. Customer can be able to design their very own BMs on my website, and I'll be able to bring that to life for them with the print by order. Oh, thank you. Thank you
for joining us today. For teams that continue their entrepreneurial journey after InventOR, there are many resources available within their universities to help them along the way. Utilizing mentoring networks, lab spaces, and intellectual property experts, the prospect of forming a startup can be less daunting. This is true for Lite devices. After competing in InventOR, they are continuing to bring their innovative wildfire alert system to municipalities and landowners across the country. Let's catch up with them now.
We are in the middle of prototyping the next generation of our product. We build a wildfire early warning system. So a small device that you'd place out in the woods or some other sensitive area. It would passively monitor for the characteristic signs of a wildfire. such as temperature, frequencies of light that are characteristic of a forest fire. And when it detects one of these events, it sends this data up to our servers where we will perform some data analytics on it, some proactive analysis, and then we can alert our customers of any potential danger. So right now, we're finishing up our second generation prototype. We've got a patent filing as well. It's just about finished, and we're going through ICOR National, and that will be through the NSF, and then performing a bit more customer discovery, more to refine the exact specifications of our product and make sure that we're a good fit for the market.
How do you think your experience participating in InventOR impacted where and how you have taken Lite devices from ideation to reality?
A lot of the feedback we got from InventOR, both from the groups running it, even from the other teams, but a lot of just exposure. We had people from the university, for instance, who come in, and that was one of the original conversations we had over IP filing. That exposure was really valuable. It was good to validate what market we had for our product, and also to look at what could we build this technology into, right? Were there any avenues that we perhaps weren't considering originally? To me, this, building a device is strictly, like, my mindset is this is just an engineering problem. This is just about building circuit boards and design and test and manufacturing. But really, there's a lot more that goes into it. And I think InventOR was really that exposure, that first large exposure, I would say, to how do I take this idea and maybe this small conceptual, almost prototype style device and consider growing like an actual company around it and developing a startup to build this into something that we could commercialize. Originally, Juan was really helpful in getting that first push into, well, we need to take this and really run with it as an idea. So that inspiration was really helpful early on. Also, Travis from IIP at Portland State was really helpful. Get an initial funding round going, and how do we get our product through IP, through patenting, but also research for marketing. What amount of money is spent right now on fire protection? What particular segments of the market were we looking at? And there were a few things that we didn't even consider early on. For instance, when we were looking at our product, we'd think, well, this is for fire protection for areas that Wildlife Service would be covering, the Forestry Service. But when we were talking with the university, and specifically with IIP, they said, well, there's also these other segments of the market that we should also consider. For instance, you've got private landowners, you've got power companies right now, are a big one, because a lot of the wildfires in California are specifically from like transformers blowing up or other problems with the electrical grid. So that exposure to the different markets really helps shape the overall business plan. And even from a technology standpoint, we can refine the design to say, well, how do we address the concerns that these specific customer segments have? So I like the going around and seeing what everyone else had come up with. The booths were really cool, the booth demo, the opportunity to do a real presentation, and also the pitch at the end, getting the decks together and the practice, the stage time. A lot of that really helps, because if you're building a company, you're always going to be talking to people. You're always going to be presenting your idea. And that's really, for a lot of people that I talk to, is this first run into, this is something that you'll be doing for funding rounds or for meeting people. You have the small elevator pitch, you've got the big stage pitch, and that face-to-face interaction with potential customers or other interested parties, people who could help you, other groups. That was really valuable to me, and I really enjoyed that experience. If you believe in your product, go for it. There were a lot of setbacks we had. There were a lot of times when something didn't work right, or a market that we thought was great wasn't great, or we'd have showing an idea to someone and they would not really be that excited about it or as excited as I was. But if you really believe in your product and you think that this could be a thing, you should take that chance and go for it.
We are about to hear from Rogue Community College's Exo Hand, a team designing an exoskeletal aid for industrial workers. They hope to provide an invaluable tool for those suffering from injury, weakness, or disability. This innovation could be the bridge for many who want to continue work with manual or textile elements, but lack the grip strength needed. Please welcome Exo Hands.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cesar Navarrete, and I am a Rogue Community College student majoring in mechanical engineering. and I am Exo Hand team. A couple years back, my daughter came up to me and asked if I could open a Gatorade bottle. Of course I would. As I proceeded to try and open the Gatorade, I found myself struggling to grip the lid. In the background, I can hear my wife commenting, "Huh, what are you gonna do when you get older?" At that precise moment, without thinking, I said, "I'll just build something to help me." Our hands is one of our greatest assets. They are the most valuable tool you have, whether you're at work, at home, or at play. We also use them to express our emotions like affection towards our significant other, or simply to express confirmation or acceptance. Since starting this competition, I sat myself down to think on how I can build my idea. What I came up with is an exoskeleton hand you can wear to help with the loss of hand strength. I decided to use pneumatic actuators to help with the movement and strength. Here you can see my prototype. It's a very early stage. You can also see how I've been progressing from little pieces that were going to be used for individual joints to a solid piece for the finger. My prototype is also connected to a pneumatic valve that is connected to a 12-volt battery and an air compressor. Some of my future goals are to move the actuators to the forearm, add more joints to the finger movement, make every finger independently move, more appealing to the viewer, and of course more comfortable to the wearer, and move away from being connected to an air compressor. As it stands right now, to build it, it costs $60.13, and that's without the air compressor. With the air compressor, it's at $182.69. My sell price would be $150 without the air compressor. With the air compressor, it would be $275. My profit margin would be $89.87. Then that's without the air compressor. With the air compressor, it would be $92.31. My gross margin without air compressor would be 60%, and with the air compressor, it would be 34%. The global exoskeleton market is projected to grow $4.2 billion by 2027 at a compound annual growth rate of 26.3%. Some of the key factors playing in this industry is the growing adoption of exoskeletons in healthcare, as well in non-healthcare settings like industrial, commercial, and military. Also, developments in robotics, introduction of innovative mobile exoskeletons by manufacturing for the aged and disabled population, increase in geriatric population, increase in prevalence of stroke. I would start off with a direct approach for manufacturing to end consumer. I would make the product, majority of it is 3D printed, so I would do that and then sell to the end consumer. Eventually, once I build up enough sales, I would go to an indirect approach and select tech type of retailers to partner up with. Thank you all for your time. And again, my name is Cesar Navarrete, and I am Exo Hand team.
Thank you, Cesar. Inspiration can certainly come from anywhere, and it is the sign of a true innovator. We have a question from our judges. As you have worked through the prototyping and testing process, what are some changes that you want to make next that would make your system more accessible and flexible to other users?
There's a lot of things I want to change on it, but the majority is get it more compact. The people I have talked to told me they want something that can just slide on. It's not going to obstruct their movement. It's not going to get in the way if they're trying to grab something. And just something that looks appealing.
Well, we look forward to it. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
Next up, we are going to catch up with the winners of the 2019 InventOR, the Reclaimers. Their project developed a system for rural communities to recycle waste plastic into crude oil. Their project certainly turned heads. We are joined now by all three members of the original team, Annika Kallestrom, Jessica Schmidt, and Ashley Morgan.
I am in Beaverton, Oregon, and I ended up taking a position doing product design for Leupold and Stevens. So I am designing rifle scope mounts and accessories.
I'm in Clackamas, Oregon, and I work for Weir Esco, and I recently switched positions into a more sustainable role, and so I'm a manufacturing engineer for a foundry. My focus is on sustainability and making the process improve and helping reduce our CO2 emissions and electricity usage.
I am up in Wenatchee, Washington, and I work for Chelan County PD. We have 2 dams on the Columbia River, so I get to work with hydropower and renewable energy, which is really cool. And I'm doing data systems and analytics, kind of on the computer programming side of stuff.
I want to know how the experience of participating in InventOR impacted the career path that you've chosen, or shaped the ways that you view your career.
I think that the entire InventOR competition between the boot camps, everything that we learned, it just shows how many options we really do have. It's inspiring to know that I don't necessarily have to do the same thing forever. I don't have to start with something and stay with it. I can always later on decide to start my own business or come up with a new invention.
Yeah, I agree with Ashley. It's allowed me to have more of a versatile approach to my career, and it's allowed a lot of out-of-the-box thinking. I don't want to just do the job that everyone expects me to do. I want to do the job that I see fit. And so it's really inspired me to push limits and to go out and try to make a difference, because you make a difference wherever you are, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're in an office or you're working for someone else or you're not working. You make a difference.
For me, it was really cool to get to have, I guess, the opportunity to rub shoulders with people that were in different educational paths than we were. Obviously, we were all studying engineering, and that's fantastic. But especially when it comes to innovation, you need people from a lot of different backgrounds. And we didn't get the opportunity to take all those business classes or really understand marketing super well, or maybe get practice with pitches. That's normally something that would never cross the educational path of an engineer. I just love being at InventOR, and it was just like falling down a rabbit hole of innovation, a whole world we just never would have known about if we would have just chomped through engineering school and not done this project. So it was really, really cool to learn about this whole other world and the options that are out there. And I think, just like Jess and Ashley said, it's really good to know that there's different options out there. And one of the big things is, like, in a career, you're almost never going to stay in the same job for 40 years. You're going to learn, you're going to grow, you're going to get different skill sets. And knowing who to ask questions and how to find help if we want to start a business someday, or have a new idea, or need help figuring out marketing stuff, that is so cool to have that opportunity that I think we otherwise would not have had keeping our nose in an engineering textbook. So I'm super thankful for the opportunity. Getting all of that background information is so cool.
What did you learn about yourself as an innovator going through this process?
I am constantly going to be innovating. I am constantly going to be wanting to make things better and coming up with new ideas. The InventOR process made me feel more confident in potentially moving forward with those.
I think I've just realized I'm not going to settle, and InventOR kind of showed there's so much more out there that you don't need to settle for even an engineering job. You can just shoot for whatever you want. If there's a will, there's a way.
I learned in a broader sense through our project, but it was also reflected in the InventOR competition, that if you have an idea and you give it a lot of thought, you don't have to be an expert before you do something with that idea. I think a lot of people have ideas, maybe have an innovation, and they feel underqualified to put that idea out there. And I think for us, it was a really, really cool journey of doing a lot of research, learning a lot, and then just going for it, putting our project together, ordering the parts, and getting to see it work was just so cool. It was amazing. And then being able to take it to competition and share that idea with others gives me a lot of confidence that whatever it is in life, it's okay to go for it. Do your research, look a little bit before you leap, but be sure to take the leap.
Looking back, what was your favorite part of the competition?
I really liked being around all of the other teams, seeing their ideas, seeing their pitches, being excited in a group where everybody is excited for each other and what they're doing. It was a very inspiring atmosphere to be in, and I would definitely do it again if I had the opportunity.
The atmosphere was amazing. I agree with Ashley. Being with that group was super inspiring, and I still think of those teams today of, I wonder where they are. I wonder how their inventions are. I look back at InventOR and I think of this team, honestly. I think of how much work and effort we put in, and I think of all the very, very, very late nights because of procrastination. Honestly, InventOR gave us a really great opportunity to grow as individuals and as a team. We got exposed to a lot that we wouldn't have been otherwise, and because engineering school does not do things like this. I'm just very grateful for the opportunities we had to grow.
My favorite part of the competition was definitely when Ashley would light our crude oil on fire. She was totally right. It was a great idea. And I think it really proved like, hey, this is our product. This is real stuff. So it was always really cool to see people's reactions, whether it was the judges at the finals got to light our crude oil on fire, and they were all really excited. In addition to that, I really enjoyed how at the semifinals, there were all sorts of different speakers that came and provided information on a huge range of topics. I think there was a lot of learning that happened from that.
What advice do you want to impart to them about being part of and the InventOR family and legacy?
I would like students to know that they should go 100%. They should go all out, even if they're not necessarily sure if they're doing the right thing or if they know everything that they should know. They'll figure it out along the way and find their confidence along the way if they just put in 100% effort.
I think two things popped in my head for this question, and the first is don't be afraid to fail. As a student, you should know how to handle failure, but some students don't. But in the real world, you fail. And InventOR gives you the opportunity to learn from your failures and hopefully turn them into successes. And that's what we should model for our whole lives. And the second part is don't be afraid to network. This is an opportunity you're not going to get hardly ever. And you're going to have to form those relationships if you want the benefit of learning and growing. And that's putting yourself out there, and that's learning what other people are doing and just being a part of the process, being a part of the big InventOR team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Networking. And, really, I would just say soak it all in. It is such a cool opportunity. Whatever that looks like for you, whether that's, taking a bunch of notes, meeting people, be 100% there. School can be really busy and really crazy. As much as possible, try to be just so present through the whole thing because it's an amazing opportunity.
Innovation comes in many forms. Carve Tools from University of Portland is working to design them with both form and function. Their sleek and compact tool helps multi-sport athletes stay safe and enjoy the outdoors. Being snowboarding and skateboarding enthusiasts, they saw a need for a multi-tool that was functional and lightweight. Because the best tools you have are the ones that you have access to. Please welcome Carve Tools.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ben Messerly.
I'm Nicholas Robinson.
And we are the inventors of Carve Tools, with a sand, snow, and street meet. We are a tool company with one simple mission: building exceptional tools for board sport enthusiasts. We help snowboarders, skateboarders, and surfers save their time, money, and the hassle when they have to make essential repairs to their boards. Board sport athletes require 6 different tools to adjust their boards. When repairs are necessary, you find boarders rifling through their toolbox to find out the tools that they're missing. There's currently no tool in the market that integrates the 6 mechanisms needed to adjust for all 3 board sports. The existing multi-tools pertain to only one area of boarding. They're often too bulky to carry while you're riding. They hold extraneous attachments for their intended purposes, and they're relatively expensive when a rider has to buy a new set of tools. These pain points are what led us to create the Universal Board Tool. The Universal Board Tool holds 6 tools and 1 compact mechanism. The attachments on the outside are made of magnetic steel that lock into place when certain tools are needed. Each attachment contains 2 widgets on either side for different adjustment purposes. Here, you see our third design iteration. We've increased the size of the tool in order to optimize leverage while being able to fit in someone's pocket. This model will propel us to protecting our product and its unique patentable features. This compact multi-tool is used to adjust any skateboard, snowboard, and surfboard. It provides riders a convenient mechanism to carry as they're riding. It saves boarders time and money when they have to buy a new set of tools when they lose certain attachments. We conducted a survey to find out more about our early adopters. We targeted our early adopters by posting our survey in our Facebook group and board sport Facebook groups and our Instagram pages. We found that over half of our survey's respondents engage in 2 or more board sports. And if we apply our research to what we found in our survey, our total addressable market is over 2.2 million young adult board sport athletes living in America today. Over 3/4 of boarders adjust their own equipment, and nearly 90% of those boarders said that they check Instagram on a daily basis, which is our main marketing strategy. Half of our survey's participants said that they prefer to buy their boarding equipment online as opposed to in person, which is our main sales focus. And then durability was rated the single most important factor for a multi-purpose sporting tool. Price was hardly even a factor.
In regards to intellectual property elements, we are in the process of filing for a coaching patent with our lawyers at Aon Law. This is the cheapest direction to a provisional patent and protection. After prototyping, we applied our grant money towards lawyer fees and patents through them. Our launch strategy involves 6 steps. Step 1, once we complete patent filing, we will complete our website. Step 2 is to run our first digital marketing campaign to build a following. Step 3 is to finalize plans with manufacturers and distributors. And step 4 is another digital marketing campaign and launching a Kickstarter campaign concurrently to build a larger following and to hit our Kickstarter goal of $40,000 to help pay for mold costs and the first order of tools. Step 5, we'll run a friends and family investing round with a goal of $100,000 to help with overhead costs. And step 6 is to fulfill pre-orders and finally launch. The main expenses are associated with marketing, website maintenance, equipment, cost of goods sold, and wage expenses. Once we launch our product, based off conservative pricing of $20 per tool, we expect revenues of $4 million in year 5. We also expect healthy margins of around 75%, giving us an EBITDA of $1.8 million. Our largest overhead costs are $60,000 for metal injection mold and $30,000 cost of a utility patent and lawyer fees. After the mold, we will become lucrative. Using the EBITDA multiplier of 10.36 for tool businesses, we calculated that our company would be worth $11.3 million by year 5. Our exit strategy has grown past year 5 and getting acquired by a sporting equipment brand. Together, we are extremely excited to expand our idea and launch. Thank you.
Well, co-working is hard enough, but getting to the stage you have while being remote is exceptional. Congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
We have a question from our judges. What user research have you done, and what impact has that surveying had on your current prototype?
So we've currently conducted 2 market research surveys. We completed one in March before we knew we qualified for the InventOR. And then we conducted another market research survey over the past 4 weeks, I believe. We asked them essential questions like what marketing channels are going to be the best for us, like what social media pages are they checking on a daily basis. We asked them whether they would be interested in buying a unique product like ours that integrates the 3 sports into one multi-purpose mechanism, and 90% of them said that they had a favorable view of our product. And we ultimately wanted to move forward with our product.
With the next round of revisions, what additional features would you hope to add?
Eventually, we would like to add customizable features. So moving into year 2 and year 3, we want to add customizable features like a number 3 posi driver, different size Allen keys for different size fins, as well as a bottle opener just for that ornamental feature.
Terrific. Thank you for joining us today, Carve Tools.
Thank you.
We are about to hear from our final team presenting today, Shield U from Oregon State University. Their project hopes to bring a face mask design from sustainable, biodegradable material to market. These masks would safely and naturally degrade, helping to solve one of the world's biggest problems in plastic waste. Their project weaves together concern for public health and the health of the planet. Please welcome Shield U.
So during this pandemic, I'm sure that many of you have seen at least one disposable face mask lying on the ground. Am I right? Yeah, so this is a major problem that is causing a lot of harm to the environment. These disposable face masks are made from a type of polyethylene which takes over 5 centuries to just degrade. And throughout this pandemic, over 129 billion face masks, along with other single-use plastics, have been used, wasted, and embedded in every crevice of our planet. This affects not only the environment, but also the food supply chain and even our drinking water, which puts hazardous risk to human health and wildlife. This is just a few of many problems associated with single-use plastics. So how can this be fixed? My name is Manrit Brar. I'm a public health and business student here in Oregon State University and the CEO and founder of Shield U. We are focusing on creating a single-use biodegradable face mask that is made entirely from biodegradable materials. This product will be targeted to environmentally conscious consumers who are doing their part in protecting themselves, others, and the planet. From fabric to ear loops, this face mask is an eco-conscious alternative while providing the required functions of a regular face mask. The filter provides effective filtration, filtering out between 0.2 to 0.4 microns, and with the COVID virus being about 0.5 microns in length for reference. And finally, the innovative design allows for adjustment for all components of the mask to fit our consumers' comfort preferences. With the COVID-19 pandemic, the year 2020 highlighted an urgency, which explains why the market worth exceeded over $1 billion in just 2020. That being said, we can predict what the demand will look like in the future. Wearing face masks will become a normalized method for further preventing disease transmission beyond just COVID-19. And as the market stabilizes, the continued demand for the next 5 years is still predicted to be significantly larger compared to 2019. My vision for the long run is to create a biodegradable medical-grade face mask to supply to businesses and medical facilities, as the demand for PPE in these industries is a constant. As of today, the cost to manufacture my prototype was $1.50 per mask. So in order to reach a 50% profit margin, I would have to sell at $3 per mask. But I do want to mention that the materials to create this product were sourced at retail price, which is why the costs are so high. Before launching the product and with additional funding, continued R&D, refinements to product cost, supply chain, we aim to bring down the cost to approximately 20 cents per mask and sell it for $20 in a bundle of 50 units. In order to make revenues by supplying 100 retailers and wholesalers locally, I have the potential to earn about $7.2 million in revenues with a $3.6 million profit. I also plan on launching a website and selling through e-commerce and using online platforms such as Amazon. So in order to get my product into the hands of my end user, my first step will be to further refine my product through additional R&D and make sure to lower per unit costs. After that, I will use social media in order to raise awareness and market my product, then distribute it through as many channels as I can. And to start, I will use a B2B2C channel to sell to retailers, who will then make it readily available to the public. I will also use a B2C by launching a website or selling through other online platforms. And finally, in the long run, I will use a B2B to supply to businesses and organizations who require PPE for day-to-day duties. In terms of competition, my competitors are mostly international. However, Shield U will have an advantage as there's a huge gap in accessibility to biodegradable face masks here in the US. I do have close competition with GeneGazer, a French company, and with the University of British Columbia, but my innovative design will set me apart. With additional R&D, I plan on creating level 1, 2, 3, and N95 level face masks and other eco-friendly product lines to grow my company. And in terms of intellectual property, I plan to start by using non-disclosure agreements and will work towards getting a patent. Moving forward, I plan on allocating my remaining budget for further refining my prototype and business model and aim to sell by the year start of 2022. I will first have to receive FDA and ASTM approval and receive any certifications, and once that is done, I plan to work with manufacturers who can mass produce my product and distribute it to our retail partners. With the current pandemic, the demand for face masks is significantly high, but with the current polypropylene masks in the market, it is doing more harm than good to our planet. So it's time that we start replacing these harmful products with our eco-friendly alternative, because this is sustainability at its finest. Thank you.
Thank you, Manreet.
Thank you.
Designing for comfort, efficiency, and environmental specification is a difficult task. Our judges have a question for you. What were the biggest changes from your initial prototype, and what resources do you hope to be able to access next as you continue your development?
Yeah, so I first created my first prototype back in December of 2020, and I used a bamboo fiber, but the prototype that I'd made was a little difficult to breathe through. So I was kind of building off of that, using different materials to make an improved prototype. Ideally, I would want to create my own fabric or my own fiber, and I would need access to like a lab and a team of scientists who would be willing to work with me to be able to create that face mask that meets the requirements.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us today, Shilju.
Thank you.
All of the teams presenting today should be very proud of the work. We all are. It's incredible to be a part of their innovation journey. We would like for you to also show them what you think. The ballot for People's Choice will be available for another 5 minutes. Please take a moment to visit the URL listed and enter participation code 654722. The winning team will be awarded $1,500.
Hi. Excuse me, my name is Joseph Janda, and I'm Assistant Vice President of Research and Graduate Studies at Portland State University. In this role, I'm privileged to support our Center for Entrepreneurship and their engagement with and execution of InventOR. During the last 5 years, we have witnessed the ingenuity, creativity, and innovative spirit of Oregon college students. InventOR has been able to eliminate barriers and create a pathway for innovation and entrepreneurship for so many student teams. And all this is possible thanks to the generous support of our many partners, and in particular the Lemelson Foundation. It is now my pleasure then to introduce Carol Dahl, Executive Director of the Lemelson Foundation. It is really thanks to their early and ongoing support that InventOR and all the amazing innovation that the student teams bring into the world is truly possible.
Hi, I'm Carol Dahl. I'm the Executive Director of the Lemelson Foundation. I'm so pleased to be able to participate in the 5th anniversary of Oregon's statewide invention competition. As the inaugural funder of this program, we are so excited to see the incredible enthusiasm and growth over the last 5 years. There's no doubt that the impressive expansion is due to the passion and dedication of Juan, Angela, and their entire team to bring this opportunity to collegiate students in nearly every corner of the state. And congratulations to all of you finalists here today. I know it's been a difficult year. The ongoing challenges you have faced as students as a result of the pandemic have been unprecedented, especially when it comes to team projects. But the fact that you are all here today is truly impressive. To get to this point demonstrates your exceptional commitment, creativity, and agility, and is at the heart of what it means to be an inventor. For those of you who may not know the Lemelson Foundation, we're a private family foundation based here in Portland with a mission to improve lives through invention. Jerry Lemelson, one of the most prolific independent inventors of the 20th century, and his wife Dorothy established the foundation more than 25 years ago. Jerry recognized that the strength of the U.S. economy in the past century has been rooted in invention, and that in order for us to continue to enjoy future prosperity, the important role of inventors and inventions must be recognized, and the next generation of inventors need their ideas to be nurtured. And Dorothy, who sadly passed away earlier this year, believed that every student should have the opportunity to experience the joy and creative satisfaction of inventing. Invention is a catalyst for economic growth, good jobs, and better lives. Invention is essential to the future we all want. And we at the Foundation believe we need both the people and systems to support them to make that happen. Invention is also critical to solving big issues that we face in our communities and around the world related to health, food security, climate change, transportation, etc. In fact, the pandemic has put a spotlight on the importance of invention, at least when it comes to addressing healthcare challenges. We are dependent on those inventions, from personal protective gear to diagnostics. It was invention that enabled the availability of COVID-19 vaccines in less than a year from when the first cases were discovered here in the U.S. Like every state in the nation, we're worried about what a post-pandemic economic recovery will look like. But we can't lose sight of the fact that Oregon is a state of extraordinary opportunity with strength in technology, agriculture, and healthcare. There's the opportunity for Oregon to lead the way in advancing these sectors and others, solving problems with needed products and building businesses and jobs for the future. In Oregon, businesses built from the ground up, leveraging homegrown talent like yourselves, are especially important to fostering a resilient job market that serves as the foundation for economic opportunity for all. As young inventors, you have the opportunity to contribute to Oregon's economic recovery and future economic resilience. That's why we support and are so excited to see the success of InventOR. That's why leaders from across the state supported the inclusion of InventOR as one of the priority programs highlighted for state support in the state's 10-year innovation plan developed by the Oregon Futures Commission. As I said earlier, to realize the vision of a better tomorrow, we need people who are inspired to improve lives through invention and are educated and equipped to do so. Clearly, the institutions of higher education, the universities, colleges, and community colleges of the state are key to unleashing and then channeling the creative talent of Oregon's amazing youth and providing them with the educational experience to recognize their own potential to invent, to innovate, to become entrepreneurs. With InventOR, the higher education community has come together, fostering cross-institution collaboration. We also need systems that will support those young inventors to transform their ideas into products that have real and positive impact on the lives here in the state of Oregon and beyond. We see critical members of the entrepreneurial ecosystem stepping up to support InventOR participants. InventOR is already making a difference in Oregon. Companies are being launched and people from every sector, government, business, finance, philanthropy, and academia are seeing the importance of invention to our regional economy. I want to thank all of the 17 universities and colleges who are now members of the InventOR team. You are bringing real value to your students, your communities, and the state. I want to thank as well the other supporting partners who make this possible. Before I close, let me turn back to our student inventors and entrepreneurs who are here today. I do want you to know that in reaching the finals, you have received validation that your invention and your business ideas have real merit. You need to persist. The end of today's event is not the end of your opportunity. It's just the beginning. We've already seen some of the previous year's competitors, those who win and those who don't win, realize success in starting their invention-based businesses. I also want you to know you've accomplished something even more powerful. You've shown that you can take and identify a problem, envisioned a way to make something better, and pursued a path to getting that in the hands of the people who would value it. You are inventors, and you are entrepreneurs. These are not easy things to do, and everything you try is not going to work. That's really the nature of invention and entrepreneurship. But I know you've already faced that and shown that you can push beyond, even in the midst of a pandemic. We are so inspired by you. I congratulate you on all you've achieved and hope that this is just the beginning of a lifelong engagement with invention and entrepreneurship. I want to congratulate and thank all of you and hope you will continue to be our partners in creating a better tomorrow using the power of invention.
That proposes a solution that, if it works, will dent the sky someday. That is, will significantly transform humankind and/or the planet for the better. The panel of judges evaluated all of the projects on the 4 separate criteria to pick a team whose work should be highlighted for not only their progress, but for their overall vision. This award also comes with a $2,500 prize to help them continue their innovation journey. The winner of the 2021 Visionary Award is rePLA from University.
Yeah, thank you so much for this
Yes,
opportunity.
thank you. Hi. Hello, sorry. We're very shocked. Thank you so much for this amazing award and opportunity. We're very excited.
Congratulations. Our second award tonight goes to a team representing an Oregon community college. For many students, community college is an essential first step. We want to highlight their efforts and encourage these students to continue their innovation and entrepreneurial journey. No matter where their education takes them, these early stage innovators are coming up with incredible ideas. This award comes with a $1,500 prize, generously provided by our sponsors. The 2021 Best Community College Project is Exo Hand.
Oh, thank you. That really surprised me. Thank you.
We are about to share with you all the fourth place winners overall. This team will receive $2,000, and like all of the teams today, they are encouraged to keep innovating. See our fourth place winner. Fourth place from...
Hey, thank you guys. I really want to congratulate everyone for all the innovation that they've done throughout this. I think we're all going somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. It's been quite the journey here.
Every team has made incredible progress. We will look forward to seeing what is next. We are about to announce the winner of the third place award and the recipient of $4,000. Please congratulate the team from George Fox University, Alpha Prosthetics, third place. Congratulations, Alpha Prosthetics. See if we can get them up here on screen. Okay, we'll move on to second place. Let's give a round of applause for all of the teams presenting today and for those who have already been showcased. Getting very exciting now. Let's look forward to second place. The team who will be taking it home will also receive $7,500 in prize money. I'd like to welcome the second place winner from the Portland State University LivingEducation Center.
Yay, thank you so much. I'm so excited. I can't believe it.
Go. Now, before I share the overall winner today, I wanted to announce the project that spoke the most to you, our audience. Thank you for taking the time to vote and to be part of the 2021 InventOR Finals. It takes the support of the community to keep ideas flowing. We hope that everyone here today is as inspired as we are. For the People's Choice Award. Ooh. We are proud to announce that the People's Choice has been a tie. This is very exciting. Our People's Choice goes to Electerro and the LivingEducation Center. Congratulations to you both.
Great, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Voting for our People's Choice Award. Okay, now for our final award. The first place team tonight will be awarded $10,000, and they also will receive the $5,000 legal startup package from Stoll Reeves. They will also be presenting at the Bend Venture Conference in October. We hope that this team continues their journey as innovators, whether it is forming a startup or sharing that experience here or with others. Ready for our first place? Please congratulate the 2021 winners of InventOR. From Oregon Tech, Electerro.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you all, especially to our participants, but also to our viewers for joining us today to celebrate the achievements of these incredible young entrepreneurs. We are so grateful to know that their ideas and innovations are shaping our future.